Good morning, Brenda. Brenda. TJ. Oh, Warren. Frank's here. I hope everybody's doing well on Thursday. I know this is a big weekend in the States for everybody because Memorial Day is Monday. Russell, good morning. Jody's here. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that, Russell. Right on. So, Giggles, you got to work today or no? The well, also spaghetti and meatballs is worth sharing too, right, TJ? Oh, TJ's got 2 days off. Wow. What are you going to do with them, TJ? Still raining here, and the outlook is for it to rain all weekend. Rain, rain, rain. Boone's over sitting by the back door. He keeps thinking he wants to go out, but it's raining out. Boone, get up and lay down. Lay down. That's funny. Can you share soup if you use separate spoons? I suppose as long as you were to dip each every after every time you use the spoon, dip it into a concoction, sterilizing concoction, and then put it in the soup. But after a while, the soup would taste like the sterilization. Hey Jim, how's it going? I don't know where Joe is or anybody else. That's right, Jim. With or without you, Jim's still on board. Here comes Mr. Lance. Good morning, Lance.
Hey, Paul. Good morning.
Are you gonna go fly or what?
I probably am. I'm meeting a buddy of mine down by the water. Um, he teaches at the high school. It's called Stadium High School. The castle that you've seen we
Oh
fly the
yeah, yep,
castle.
yep. The one right downtown there.
Yeah, he teaches there. So he's going to meet me where I normally fly on the waterfront, and we're going to fly for a little bit, and then we'll both take off and teach our day. We've got Friday and Monday off, so this is our Friday today. It's,
Yep.
however, not pizza day. Look at that. Why is so Bigfoot Java is always packed? There's nobody at that. There's nobody there. They're probably wondering. They're looking around in there, like, why isn't anyone in our shop? I mean, there's like normally 5 or 6 cars lined up on, and it's a double sided one, so you can go on either side, and there isn't a car on either side. Wonder if they
Really?
jacked their prices up. That's the second time I've seen that this early in the morning where there's no one been there.
Well,
But no,
you said they jacked their prices up.
I don't know. I wonder if they did. you know, but like I said, it's the second time in probably a month or 3 weeks that I've seen nobody there. Normally there's and I drive by every day. Normally there's, like I say, 5 or 6 cars on either side, but there was nobody there just now. And this is prime coffee drinking time, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, you
anyway,
know, the same thing happens here when I fly a ship in the morning and it's cold and windy or whatever, and I swing through uh, and get my Boston creams, and it's the drive-through, and I'm the only one. Maybe there might be one other car ahead of me, or
well,
because Tim Hortons, you know, serves a lot of coffee and donuts and stuff, and
is that where you get it, Tim
Tim Hortons,
Hortons?
Tim
I've
Hortons.
never heard of that. Yeah, we do
Well,
not
there you
have
go.
the.
You could start a Tim Hortons franchise out there.
There you go. Perfect. Did you fly this morning?
No, it's been raining for the last 2 days, and it's going to rain again today. I flew last night in the rain, but
Okay.
I came back soaking wet.
Okay. But the bird flew okay in the rain, huh?
Yeah. Well, it was a more of a misty rain, and it picked up at some point, and then it dropped off, and I brought it
Okay.
home, and I left it on the counter, opened up, and dried it off the best I could.
Sure. And you got rid of your flip.
Yes. Yeah, I sold the flip.
Good. So the only drone you have now, or you have one Air 2S,
Yep.
and you don't have any Autels or anything like that.
No, I sold. Brenda bought one, and you know,
Okay.
I sold all my drones because I had a collection,
Yeah.
and
Good morning, Brenda.
you can only fly one at a time, you know.
I know. I know. So does Brenda fly yours very much?
She flies every once in a while, not as often as she would like, I think. But she's got other things. She plays golf with her husband and different things.
Mm-hmm. Golf is good, and it takes time. It's a
Yes.
5 hour round.
Yep. And now that she's got Angel, that takes a lot of her time too.
Is Angel a dog?
Yep. Yeah, it's like a mix of lab.
Okay.
And she got it as a puppy. It was only like I think it's only 4 or 5 months old.
Oh, geez, it's probably yeah.
Full of
It's got-
energy, you know?
for sure.
It's like Boone's starting to settle down here a little bit, but he's still full of energy. He's staring out the back window out at the yard thinking he needs to go out, but it's raining, you know, and I don't want to put him out in the rain. 'Cause
Yeah.
then I have to wipe him all down and
Yeah, that's what we would do with we had a little Shih Tzu passed away 2 years ago this month actually. Anyway, anytime it was wet out, she would, and she would have to go out and do her business in the backyard. I had a towel by the door so I could wipe her legs off because she would, you know, get wet from the grass. So I would, and she was trained to do it. She would stop. She would lift up her left paw. I would wipe her down. She would lift up her other paw. The back legs she didn't like so much,
Boone,
but
what are you doing? You don't want to go out. Boone's bugging me. Well, he says I want to go outside. I want to go outside.
do you have rabbits?
I got rabbits, squirrels. I also have Boone stop.
Okay. You got people pounding on your door. I can hear the dings.
No, that's the ding. That's the ding of them wanting to come in.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They're pounding on your live stream door.
And here comes Captain Joe.
Yeah, Boone wants to go out. He likes it in the rain.
I don't like to have him in the rain.
What's up?
Well, that's not what you want. It's what he wants. He's a dog that likes to be out in the weather.
What's up, TJ, Warren, Frank?
Hey, Joe, what did you sell your Vardas
Honda.
for?
I sold the 2 Avadas, 4 batteries, the case, a couple extra props, Integra goggles, and the motion controller $12.50.
$12.50.
Yep.
Boy, that's a heck of a deal. I mean, for you got some good money out of that.
It was a heck of a deal for the guy who got it too.
Both
Hey,
ways,
did you
I
put-
agree.
It was about $1,700 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And they were brand new, basically. That was the thing.
Yeah.
Because you had 18 flights on the one that I had to reopen when I crashed the one. Then I had the one in the box that never got activated. Believe me, it's still kicking me. Because I should have just kept them and flew them. But I knew I wasn't going to.
Well, you can't technically say they were new if you flew them.
No, one of them I
They
flew.
were
The other one I
gently
didn't fly at all.
used. Say they were gently used.
Well, it was basically new. Put it that way. 18 flights. It's no time. 18 flights. There was 36 minutes on it. I only flew them for about 2.5 minutes apiece. I always do one shot.
Nothing's gentle with Joe because he hits poles.
TJ is
What's up,
going to get a
McCoy?
haircut, and I think we should challenge him to come back with the bald look. You know, just take it all off, TJ.
Number one.
Oh, he's
Ask
on
him for a
pretty
number
good.
one.
Yep.
So I went to this donut shop that has a lot of controversy around it. And I'll explain to you why.
What
The-
donut shop?
The one here in my town. It's a local place.
I don't know.
So no, I'm gonna explain the story. Why
Boom.
is so
Oh, hell.
So the lady and her husband owned a donut shop around here for years. They had a special recipe. Their donuts are really good. And they ended up getting divorced about a year ago or a year or two ago. They actually had a court battle over the fucking recipe for the donuts. She won it because it was her recipe. And then she reopened up a store over in Dundee. Me and Sarah went over there and got some donuts.
Were they good?
Yeah, they're good. I'm eating apple fritter right now. I got an apple fritter, a raspberry, and a coconut cream one with coconut on top. Looks really good. I've never had her donuts before, but I'm trying them now.
You don't want to go outside because it's raining, you goofball.
He's telling me I need to go pee.
He's already been out to pee this morning. But
Well,
he's
how many
bugging-
times you pee, Paul?
He's
How many
bugging
times?
that. Well,
Huh?
I'm an old guy. He's a young guy.
No, he's got to pee too.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Had to relate Paul with something he's used to.
Not much, Corey.
Hey, Brenda, TJ. Let's see.
Edward, Ed, Jim,
Russell,
Russell.
Jim. I don't see Edward. See Corey. I see Frank. Don't see Jody when Frank's there. I wonder why.
Warren's there.
Well, I don't see. Hey, Warren, I just jumped right over you. Hey, Warren. What happens with AI sometimes? You just take it for granted.
No, we went into the donut shop though, and there was
That
like
fast.
fucking, there was like 20 people in there. I guess an older crowd with having a little get together club or whatever. They were in there just mowing down donuts and coffee.
So was the controversy the recipe? Is that what the story was all about?
Yeah,
Okay.
they had a big court battle. It went on for like a year or two over a damn donut recipe. The donuts are pretty good. I'm eating them now. I'd never been there before, but it was like a local story that was.
Well, yeah, I was wondering if that was it. I was wondering if maybe he got caught in the back with one of the little Krispy Kremes filling it. You know.
That'd be a good story. Let's make that one up.
Corey. That must have been after I came in. I came in and said hi to him, but I didn't play last night. I was tired.
So Justin, we finished 8th in state in the in Rocket League.
Oh, nice.
My kids were pretty happy about that. We lost to the eventual champ that knocked us out.
Can you guys have outside players, or is it just teachers and students?
Just my kids. We have something called TOL, which is Tacoma Online Kids. So they're kind of like internet kids in my service area, and I have one of those because they're allowed to join the local sports team, whatever. So if they're a football player and they're a TOL kid, they lived in my area, they would play football for my team. And I had one of those guys. I had one TOL kid, but everyone else was my high school. Goes to everyday high school in my building.
Oh, come on. Get in here.
Just let me out.
That's funny, Corey. He must have had his volume turned way up too, Corey, because that sound that Axel Chat makes is very subtle. I wonder if he had his volume turned up really loud. Or was it, or Corey, was it more or less he just didn't know where the sound was coming from?
No. Go eat your dish. Hurry up before that man comes.
I love that sound, dude. It's just a nice little ding. Just a short, simple. Lets you know somebody put something in the chat. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the raspberry. Don't like the raspberry filling. Their apple fritter's pretty good. Oh, okay.
Oh, he went out and he went to the bathroom and he come running back in and I had to dry him off.
Yeah,
I thought he was
that's
just
what he
using
wanted.
basil.
He wanted you to rub him dry.
Well, I don't know if we rub him dry because his coat gets wet, but yeah, better than what it was because he comes in and he's shaking, you know.
Yeah, it's the same commands you can put in for Nightbot. Yeah, and StreamBot.
Joe, was the guy you sold your stuff to local, or was he kind of a couple towns away?
Well, the guy that I sold the original one, he was up in Alexandria, Louisiana. The one I sold the Mini 3 Pro. So he was
Yeah.
about almost 2 hours away, but he came down and met me about an hour in. And then the other guy was in Pearl River. Kiln, Mississippi, where Brett Favre lives.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to Kiln because I know where Brett Favre hangs out. They got a little diner up there, and he's there most of the time. I was gonna go hang out. I was gonna go run in there just to see if I could run into him. And the guy said, he said, let me drive a little closer to you and help you, like that. And I said, well, meet me in Picayune, which is right on the other side of the line. It's where I bought my car. So as I started to drive, I got 2 exits down. I said, oh shit, I forgot something. I had to turn around and come back because I forgot the diopters that go with the Integra goggles. I forgot the box. So I told him, it's going to be another 10 minutes. I got to run back. So then he said, well, I'll just drive further. So he met me right by Slidell, basically. So he drove about midway, but he's only about 35 minutes from me.
Yeah. Did either one of them want to fly it before they bought it?
No.
Okay.
I turned them on and showed them they worked. I said, you want to put them up? You want to put it in the air? He says, no.
Okay.
What are you interested in buying, Justin? Justin doesn't even have a drone, do you?
No.
Oh,
You know,
I might have bought it, Justin.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind getting a little drone just to putt around in the yard with. But
like a
I don't
Neo?
know.
That's
No.
what Joe would recommend.
Don't
a Neo.
start that again. Don't start it.
You can get
With
Neos.
wings.
You can get a Neo pretty cheap right now. I think they're like $199.
I don't want a Neo.
That's how much they were when they started.
So Joe, my Neo is going to Texas. I thought it would go to California, but my guess is they don't have them in California if they have to replace it. So they're that's my guess. They're saying, okay, well, we'll have you come to Texas because we know there's some in the building.
That's
So
because they don't. That's
What did
because
you do?
they.
Send it?
That's because they don't fix anybody's drones. They just send you one, and then they fix that one later.
Exactly.
They send you somebody's that was sent in 4 months ago to get fixed.
Yeah.
That's the one you're getting.
Yeah. But I put black marker on mine, so they're not going to be happy about that.
What is the difference? What is a freaking fly more light? What is only comes with 3 batteries.
So are you thinking of the Air 3S over the Mavic 4? Is that what you?
Yeah, I'm not spending that much money. Okay, you know what the difference in the Air 3S is with the light package? They don't give you the bag.
Oh, for sure, Randy. You should have known what size fucking rims.
Most people don't want the bag. I think that's the reason they stopped doing it.
And since
No, they're trying to cut the price.
And since he didn't know
it says $22.50 down to $15.99.
And since he didn't know that, Randy, I'm going to assume those rims were stolen.
The bag was worth $700.
That goofy case isn't worth that kind of money.
Well, Joe, if you were an influencer, you would get a case like this.
There you go.
Oh, if I buy an Air 3S, Johnny's got an extra case he said I could have.
You just need to be an influencer. That's
Hey,
all.
Lance, I bet you're glad your daughter's home, aren't you?
I am very glad. Yes.
That Cessna 500 that's crashed into a housing area
Can't hear you,
in
son.
San Diego.
Oh, is that right? I did not hear anything about that.
Yeah, yeah.
When that happened.
4 o'clock this morning.
Whoa.
What happened?
Cessna 500, 6 to 8 seater, crashed into a residential area in San Diego.
Wow. My wife didn't tell me that this morning. She listened to the news too, I'm sure.
Hey,
DI,
Randy,
hot pilot.
Justin.
What's that, Justin?
Oh, I said it's just fucking so many damn wrecks lately.
And a Jewish couple that works in the Israeli embassy in Washington got shot by a Palestinian and killed outside the Jewish Museum in Washington.
In DC or the state of Washington?
You need to get a grip on your country.
No, we just need to go back to Wild Wild West. Everybody needs to be armed to hell up. Seriously, the states
agree.
that have some of the worst, not every state, because Florida's had mass shootings, but most states that have really strict gun laws are usually the ones that have the most gun violence, because they don't allow people to carry and protect themselves when need be. There's some states, if you shoot somebody because they're kicking your front door in, you'll get in trouble. And there's states like Florida, you start kicking my fucking door like it's a TikTok challenge, you can unload a fucking clip to the damn door.
Yeah.
Problem is guns are
When the-
chewing.
When the police dragged him away, he was shouting "Free Palestine."
See, the thing is the gun culture is so ingrained in most U.S., in the U.S. that it's something I don't think they'll ever be able to take away. I mean, it's like a religion for some people. It's like the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the political violence, that's more political violence, though, but I guess that's just because we're so involved in that area right now. Doesn't surprise me. I don't know why the hell they can't just leave each other alone. Like, fucking. We'd rather just be in perpetual just war all the time. Oh yeah. Randy, there was a kid down here that got killed because he was doing that TikTok challenge where you play that song and you kick the shit out of somebody's front door.
Yeah.
Dude thought the dude was kicking in his front door. I don't blame the guy. He don't know that. I mean, they literally were kicking people's doors like they were the police trying to get into the house. And when you're not announcing who you are,
Get yourself in trouble.
because there's some states where it's legal to kill a cop if he doesn't announce who he is and he starts kicking your front door or something, and you don't know who it is. If they don't, they're supposed to announce themselves before they go through a front door. That's why if you watch a lot of body cam footage, when they go to break the front door open, they always say police, police, and then they hit the door.
When I worked EMS, and we had to go to our front door to check on somebody. It maybe it might be a wellness check. And I tell you what, I didn't stand in front of that door.
No, I think cops always stand to the side of the doors. They usually don't stand right in front of them. And it's always dangerous anyway, especially like domestic calls.
Yeah.
You don't want to stand right in front of a door because it could be somebody crazy, you know? I mean, you could go to a regular call, not even be a domestic call, and knock on the front door and somebody fire through it.
Yep. The only time that I could ever remember in my life that adrenaline didn't kick in and I had a pit in my stomach afraid was the day that we were dropping a woman off in the Marigny area, which is not a bad area, but it's outside of the French Quarter. And we were dropping her off. She was coming home from the hospital. She was going to stay it was her house, but her nephew stayed there. And it was her nephew. It was actually she had given it to the nephew, but she had to go back to that house because it was handicap equipped. So we were bringing her back, and they knew she was coming. As I pulled up, there was a guy next there. He was taking stuff out of the truck, an oxygen guy bringing oxygen in, and the door was open. So I said to myself, "Hey, he's been in and out, you know, like that." So I get up and I walk out, and I got a brand new partner, like second day riding on a unit. And I said, "I'll be right back. Let me go let everybody know you're here." I go walking in the house, just walking in. Don't say a word. I got the same color uniform and everything as the police. And I get in there, and as I turn the corner, there's about 6 people sitting. It was about 6, maybe 8, sitting at the table. And I said, "EMS, we're here with you." I said, "EMS." I'm glad I said that. I said, "EMS, we're here with your grandmother." And as I turned the corner, I seen all these Uzis and 9mm and everything get moved under the table. And on the table was money and drugs. And I said, "She goes in that back room back here?" I played it off just like that. And he said, "Yeah, she goes in the back room." And everybody's looking at each other. And I'm saying, "Oh, shit." It must, you know. So I kind of backed out. And as I was getting back to the back, I walked over and I told my partner, I said, "As soon as I start to drive off, close the back door." He said, "What?" I said, "Just trust me." And I told the guy in the van, I said, "You need to put all your shit back and drive off real quick." And I looked back and they didn't come out. They were still in the back. So as I got in the unit, I started driving off. He just closed the door and left like that. And I called the police and they went back out. And then he said, "What are they doing?" He said, "What is my grandson doing at my house?" I said, "Well, I walked in there and there was a bunch of guns on the table and a bunch of drugs." So I called it in. She goes, "Yeah, call it in, baby." Just like that. Well, she was mad. She said, she said, "I want them to get him before I do."
Hey, Joe, can you see the panel?
Yeah.
Okay, because Jim's having a hard time, can't see anything. All of a sudden his screen went blank.
So Microsoft just came out and said there was 394,000 Windows computers affected by Luma malware. But the U.S. Department of Justice took control of Luma's central command structure and squashed the online marketplace.
So there's all this crap with DJI. They got something's going on with their website, because not the fact that you got to also tell them you're in the United States all the time, but when I sign in, and I know I'll just double check the password on both computers, and it's the only password I got, and it signs in, but it doesn't show me any of my past orders or nothing.
Yeah, I hate the fact that every time I turn around, they're changing some little thing on the computers that, I used to, at the top of my main screen would have a bar across there that would have like my Zoom and all that kind of stuff, and it's gone. It's not there. I've tried to reset it. I've tried to find it. I can't Nope.
You talking like a drop down menu?
Well, yeah, but it goes across the top of the header, it's like where it says premium and then it had a line up there with all the different functions
That was on Zoom, right?
No, that's on YouTube.
on YouTube.
Yeah, I never had any headers on the top. I had them on the side, unless you can move them.
Well, I mean, you could, TJ, but
Okay, my car's not picking us up, so let me. I'm gonna hang up.
Yeah, I can't see it where it moves. Mine's always been on the side.
that's up to you, TJ. But you're gonna still have to put some money up.
I can get a Flymore Air 3S combo right now with care refresh from DJI for $1,700.
Yeah, but with which controller?
The question is, though, TJ,
RC2.
do you really need it, TJ?
What's
He's
TJ
good.
trying to buy?
He's
He's
selling
saying-
his Air 2.
No, he's asking, should he sell his Air 2S to get an Air 3S? I don't know. I don't.
Going to
Think
cost
so.
another $1,200 on top.
Yeah, that's
You
what I'm
better
saying.
find the Air 3S first.
Well, if you look at the Air 3, what were we looking at last night on Amazon? The Air 3S and the Air 2S were only $50 apart in price.
Oh, if you
Brand
but if
new,
you
not second-hand.
if you go on Air 2S to Air 3, it's not worth it. If you go to Air 3S, it's big jump.
I think that's what he meant. Is the Air 3S?
Yeah, because that, like I said, I'm thinking right now to press this button.
Yeah, but the Air
Air
2,
3S.
the
Yeah.
Air 2S second hand is what,
How
700,
much is the Air 3S
800
now,
maybe?
Joe?
Yeah, that's what
$15.99.
well, that's what we were saying, Mark. Is he's going to end up having to put up a
At least a
significant-
grand.
yeah, significant amount of money to be able to upgrade. And it's like, is it really worth it for you, TJ? Because you don't do like extensive
And-
videos. You don't.
And
do
he doesn't
extensive-
fly that much either.
And he
Yeah.
doesn't do extensive editing or anything. So it's like the Air 2S is giving plenty nice video. I mean, he doesn't really need to upgrade. I don't think it's a waste of money for him. He has no purpose to do that unless he just wants to. But like Mark said, he's going to have to put up at least anywhere between $800 to $1,000 of his own money on top of what he sells his Air 2S for. Randy said the Air 3S isn't much different for video quality from the Air 3, hardly noticeable.
Yeah,
My
but you
thing
got
is-
better return to home. That
And 2 cameras instead of 1.
Yeah.
There's only 1 camera on the Air 3, isn't there?
Does the Air 3 have LiDAR?
no.
No.
So, what are the major upgrades from the Air 3S and the Mavic 4? The camera turns 360, which is kind of cool, and
3 cameras,
rotates better.
3 cameras instead of 2. Faster,
Okay.
longer flight time, quicker charging.
I don't think you need to upgrade, TJ. Just stick with what you got, dude.
Better low light sensors all round rather than not just LiDAR, the actual obstacle sensors are better in low light as well.
See, that don't make sense. I just signed out, signed back in, and all my stuff showed up.
Oh, so Randy's saying if you don't have an Air 3, then go ahead and buy the Air 3S. But if you have an Air 3, don't bother upgrading. But he's trying to upgrade from an Air 2S. I just don't think he needs to be honest.
How often
No,
do you
I'm
fly
happy
the
to tell with
2S?
my Air 2S.
Me too, Paul.
Yeah, how often do you even fly, TJ, your Air 2S?
He usually
that's a-
barter, isn't he?
I mean, it's just not worth it. TJ doesn't do these like big, extravagant, expensive videos. So
No.
I just don't see the point in upgrading. And he's not doing commercial work, so
It says if I order it right now, I'll get it on June 5th.
The Air 3S?
Yep.
And that's 2 weeks off.
Yeah, save your money, dude. Go buy something. Save your money. Don't even worry about it, TJ. I wouldn't buy it.
Joe, push the button. Push the button.
Why? No, he could go ahead. Do they have a pre-cancellation button you can push first?
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
Or
it and get-
send back. I'm sending it back.
Yeah, you can order. Go ahead and get that out of the way.
Do the
Well,
monthly
the
show, I'll get
difference
my
is
input, send it back.
the difference is we got 3 people potential buyers. Joe has ordered his. TJ should not order one. And Lance, that's up to you.
Well, at this point for TJ, if he bought one, it's literally just because he wants it.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from, does he need it or is it a necessity? Absolutely not. He's got Air
Yeah.
2S.
I want a Lamborghini, but I ain't gonna go and buy one.
Randy said, "Don't listen to Justin."
Yeah. Well, this is the deal. If in about an hour, I'll be calling the insurance company to make sure everything gets done. And if they tell me file the claim, the money I get for the claim will cover this.
There you go.
So I get the money to pay for it right now.
I love
And
how
it's
he's
just
trying.
like I got the Mavic 3 brand new, and then I got a brand new setup with the Air 3S.
I like how he's trying to convince us that he needs to buy
So
With me?
Joe,
it.
No,
I've got a buddy of
I need the
mine.
new technology.
I've got a buddy of mine, Joe, that has the Mavic 3 and the Air 3S. And I said, hey, which one would you keep if you had to sell one? He said he would
Air
keep
3S.
the Air 3S. And I
Yeah,
said,
right.
well, sell me your Mavic 3 then. He said, let me think about it.
Randy
But-
said, "Sell your Mavic 3 and get an Air 3S." Joe.
Is that what Randy said? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing is the Air 3S is that much better.
I've flown Johnny's. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it was right after I flew the Mavic 3. And he said, here, fly this, see what it's like. And I started flying it, and I was looking at the control, and I'm looking at the drone, and I'm feeling just the response.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I said, I can't tell the difference.
I
And
think
you
if
can
you
tell the difference in the Air 2S. You can tell the difference in like a Nevada.
Dono put a video on about the things he doesn't like on the Mavic 4. And the main one that he didn't like was the fact that the field of view on the lenses isn't the same. It's not as good. It's narrower.
And who did the review?
Dobo.
Potty mouth.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh.
I started to watch that this morning, but I got preoccupied. I'll have to watch it.
Potty mouth that should go to anger management. Because he couldn't get through that little 3-minute video without cursing. Half the time I don't even watch this stuff.
Uh,
I don't like somebody that when he's telling you something like that, he's actually talking down to you. Because he's on that pedestal, he's so much better. You got to be humble like me. When you're on that pedestal, you don't tell anybody.
Oh, Joe, you were right about the RC Pro controller last night. I misread David's message.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew
Well,
that, but
The RC
I
Pro.
went and double checked and researched because if it was, I was jumping on one.
Yeah, I misread what he said. There's the way he worded it. I misread it.
What, the Pro 2?
Yeah, yeah.
so, which controller do you get for that price, Joe? The Air 3S.
RC2.
So is it the one with the screen or just
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
RC2's got a screen.
Yeah, it's got the
Okay.
screen. So that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. It's back to the normal price. So if I could jump on it for that price, and have an RC2 and a case dedicated to that drone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what does the RC2 fly with?
RC2,
think
the
4.
Mini 4 Pro, the Air 3, Air 3S,
And the
Mavic 4.
Mavic
and the
4.
flip.
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
flip.
that drone too. And the
Not
Not the
Neo,
drone, not the Neo.
the Neo too.
Yeah, the
All
Neo.
right, that Neo.
Did you see what Al wrote? He said, y'all smoking some serious chronic. How's a 1-inch sensor better than a 4/3 with Hasselblad?
Okay, Al, it may not be a better sensor, but I'll put it this, I'm gonna really get you. The Air 2S, I think, takes a better picture with
Yep.
that 1-inch sensor than my Mavic 3. I don't care
But
about the
not
color
video.
science or not.
There's
I
been
think
there's
it
been
takes a
other
better
people
picture.
say the same thing, Joe.
I think
But
it's
not
sharper
video.
myself. Well, the video depends. Depends on the video. I've taken video and I'll put it like this. If I didn't tell you it was Air 2S, you probably think it was the Mavic 3.
Well,
No,
I think
yeah,
any of that.
the Air 2S
I
has got
think
the Air 2S has got a genuine 20 megapixel camera, whereas the Mavic 3 has a 12 megapixel with quad Bayer.
Yeah, it's a stack.
okay,
Yes,
at the rock
the performance is better, but when you're posting to social and not doing pro work, Air 3S with the better signal, battery life, light, etc., is better than the Mavic 3.
Yeah, the Mavic 4's got a longer range, but only with the RC Pro 2, I think, not with the ordinary RC2.
No, I think he's talking about the Air 3S versus the Mavic 3. He's saying that it's got better signal and battery life and low light. Is what Randy was saying.
Oh yeah, I think the Mavic 3 is only OcuSync 3.
Hey, Joe, Fox News
Whereas
just
the
had
Air
the,
3S is
had
OcuSync
the
4.
inside scoop on that airplane crashing into San Diego.
Yeah.
It was a neighborhood, and it was cars and everything's just trashed.
Oh yeah, it is. It's a right mess.
How many deaths do we know?
No, they don't know yet.
They don't know yet.
They don't even know how many people
saying
were
it's a
actually
proper
on-
mess.
They don't know how many people are on the plane either, do they?
No, they don't.
It's a 7-passenger plane, but they don't know how if it was just a pilot or if
And what time Pacific time did that happen?
It was 4 o'clock in the morning,
4
according
o'clock
to the
Pacific.
news, but I don't know which area it was 4 o'clock in.
Probably they're going by the time it happened, and so it would have been
So
what?
4 a.m. in San Diego, huh?
Yeah, which would have been the same time for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin. Ah,
They said that visibility was crap, apparently.
Yeah, it tried to land on a street, but it was a small 2-lane street with trees and houses and everything and cars parked. And it just plowed right through them all.
Huh. Weird. My wife didn't say anything to me as I was leaving this morning because she had the news on in the background. I'm sure it was on the news. And I slept in this morning. Actually, I got up and then laid back down for a bit.
Well, that's because the big headlines in the news is the big, beautiful bill passed the House.
It passed? Yes.
Yep.
They did one thing though I'm mad about. They changed one thing in it and I'm mad about it. They instead of doing no tax on Social Security, they changed it to a $4,000 tax credit.
Oh, they just did it.
So you get up to 4,000 off your.
No, I think it's. I'm hoping it's up to 4,000. You know, but still, it's not. I think it's just an extra 4,000 off of your taxes.
Yeah.
You know, extra 4,000 off. I don't have to pay anyway because I usually fall close. Real
Well,
close.
what is it like if you're since you're on Social Security? How much do you guys average per year in Social Security payments?
It depends on what I tell them I make. You know.
Yeah, but what's your average? You make like 20 grand a year, 30 grand?
In that neighborhood.
Because
Yeah,
four
but
thousand dollars is about what you would pay in a normal 30,000 a year job.
yeah,
So
what it
that's not
does
bad.
yeah, the last 5 years I've filed, actually since I went on Social Security, I haven't had to pay any taxes.
I don't
And
either.
Although you're gonna have to look at it close though, because you know how that government wording is.
yeah,
So Joe, is it per,
Maybe,
is it married filed jointly, or is it individual?
individual
So-
is more of a joint.
it would be better to be individual if you were married because then you'd get 8,000 instead of just
No, if you're
four, right?
married, I'm thinking it's more than that. Thinking they said it went to 10.
I would, well, that's pretty damn good still though.
Yeah.
If
So,
See,
you
when
don't,
you
but
get to be my age, you don't pay any taxes at all across the board, city, state, or anything.
uh-huh, yeah, keep thinking that.
No, I don't. And
Don't you pay property
I
tax?
get letters from the government saying you don't have to file. You don't have to file. You don't have to.
Yeah, but you're not working an actual job, so
No, exactly. I'm just living off my income.
yeah, but you still have to pay property taxes and shit.
Yep.
So before this though, Joe, we weren't taking, you did not pay anything on your Social Security, did you?
no, I never did. I
Then
never
what are
did.
you worried about?
No,
What am I
I'm just telling you.
I'm retired.
I'm just telling you. Don't
I'm
renege,
just
you know.
And
And
the way
You know, I've actually got letters after about 4 years telling me you don't have to file. I
Yeah.
file for one reason. I file just to make sure that when if I decide to go back with something big, you know, a business is going to make the money that I can't deal with. I want to make sure I've got some tax returns from them.
Yeah.
Because
The way-
like right now, thank God, a lot of people they pay me in cash.
the way
Well-
ours works is I can earn 15,500 a year before I start paying tax. Anything over that, I pay tax on.
Now, was there a limit? I got to look at the bill because I'm curious if they put a limit on the overtime.
I know that there's
Tax.
no overtime. There's no overtime tax.
No tax on overtime.
But there's no amount of hours it's limited
No.
to.
No.
No tax on
Okay.
overtime. No tax on tips.
Guess what Florida's getting rid of? Property taxes.
There you go.
And then they're just going to put a few little small taxes onto the tourism tax that already exists that will cover it.
Well, what they were talking about having in this bill, I don't think got done, but I think they're really talking in the next 2 years. They're talking a federal tax that's going to be, what is it, the fair tax they're calling about. That is going to be a tax put on everything and no income tax. Income tax is going to be gone. IRS will be gone.
Yeah, because
Now
they're
that
talking.
I agree on, because the people, it'll affect me more because, like I said, I don't pay income tax, but I'll have to pay a little bit more for something.
Oh, see, and everybody keeps trying to say, oh, you know, they're going to tax, if you're not paying property tax, they're going to get it from somewhere. Yeah, they're charging out of towners that come here on vacation are the ones that will be covering it, not people that live here.
Oh yeah,
But Florida's averaging like 130 to 150 million visitors a year. Dude, an extra 25, 50 cents on hotel, say a hotel cost, you know, to rent a hotel. One, you're not going to really notice that as the person renting that room. That's an extra 50 cents. You're not going to notice that.
As if going
to
visit Disneyland isn't more expensive already.
But yeah, but you're choosing to do that at the end of the day too. Nobody's forcing you to go to Disney World.
That's true.
But the thing is that 25 or 50 cents will add up to hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars.
yep.
You know, with that many
Think
people.
if they did that in
through.
Louisiana with Mardi Gras, how much money we'd make during Mardi Gras?
But that's the way they're going to get rid of the property tax for people. But at the same time, they'll be able to cover it without actually taxing the citizens somewhere else to cover it. See, that's the key is you don't get rid of one tax just to have it covered somewhere else later on. they're doing it smart. They're saying, okay, well, we'll just charge these 150 million people coming out of town. We'll put a small little tax add on to what they already pay in their tourism tax that will equal billions of dollars or whatever, and that will cover it. And it's not, like I said, somebody that's coming and spending 15 grand at Disney World isn't going to notice a few extra dollars on their bill in tourism tax. That's not going to make or break their vacation, you know.
Look, Lance, look. My precious.
Yeah. So why don't you sell that and then
My precious.
and then you sell that and then buy the Air 3S without spending any of your money.
No,
Sell that for
I
$2
like
grand.
this.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he just needs to sell all his other drones, but the Neo, and just buy a second Neo, Lance.
Yeah, yeah.
Just buy a whole fleet of Neos.
Where's
How many
your deck?
Neos can he get for
Joe,
that
where's
Mavic
your
3?
deck?
Well, let's see. The Neo's what, $200? How many of those Neos can he get for one Mavic 3?
He could
Yeah,
have
he
a
could have a-
fleet.
Nearly 10.
Yeah, he could have a
He
whole
could have a
fleet of.
fleet.
Yeah,
Look, my asshole.
yeah. You could do, dude. You could do a different jet wings for each one.
Wait, you want to hear something? I put a picture of this on Instagram, right? And it kicked. For some reason, Instagram started going back over to
Later,
Facebook. It
Randy.
never did. So it's on Facebook, and the first person that tells me they like this is Frankie J. Knox, the guy who was in the Marine Corps with, retired Sergeant Major. And he first thing he did, he liked it right off the bat. Yeah. All my Marine Corps friends are liking it.
I mean, it looks cool and everything, but if it's going to throw the flight characteristics off that bad,
Your background really screws up anytime you put something. There you go.
I wouldn't use it.
I could do this.
You know, if it was in like say you were inside a massive ass warehouse and flying that might actually do better without any wind hitting it.
Yeah. I need to fly it around in here to see, but the only reason I haven't flown it inside is because it's like flying with blades on the side.
The thing is,
I'm not
because
about to fly it into my 65-inch television.
it's kind of like a kite in wind, but I'm wondering if it would give it better stability turning in a non-winded area.
Now, are you still capable of putting that light on underneath it?
The light is underneath it.
Oh, you got it down there. Okay.
Yeah, the light is underneath it.
You and Johnny need to find a big old empty warehouse somewhere that you guys can go flying.
We're going to fly tomorrow. I don't know where we're flying tomorrow, but we're flying tomorrow.
And you need to find somebody that owns like some old warehouses that'll let you guys go in there and fly around.
So now I got a really good question here. I just looked at this and I had a brain fart. I looked at the back of this and I seen this little loop that's up here. It looks like it's something you put a keychain on, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, well, why in the hell they got that there? And I realized that's from the battery clip.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying, but still, why the hell they put that there? What are you going to do? Tie a string to it or what? When you're flying it? So you get it
No,
back?
it's small enough to put on your keychain. You know, you just get.
Well,
Get in the
no,
car.
what you do is you put a string on it and don't bother turning it on and fly it like a kite.
You know,
I know what I'm going to do with it. I know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to make me a banner and it's going to say, the DJI Neo sucks. And I'm going to fly it through the air with it flying behind it. What do you think?
Well, I think the banner should say, "I endorse the Neo. Buy it now."
Don't. It's going to say, Neo sucks. Don't buy this piece of shit.
No, it's like the key when you would get the key from the teacher to go to the bathroom, and I had the ridiculously big, like, I had a teacher that actually had a toilet seat on his,
Key ring.
yeah, on the key
Yeah.
ring for the bathroom.
It's
He'd
all
give you the-
pass.
Yeah, it was a toilet seat, and it was a hall pass.
We had
Because-
what my best friend who I taught with many years ago did that, and one of the parents called and complained, so he had to. They said it was degrading because he would put it over their head as they walked out the door. Ah,
Okay, yeah, I could see why they were complaining.
I wouldn't give
geez.
a damn.
The bad thing, it was a used toilet seat too.
Yeah.
Now, back we had the teacher would give us one, and it was a hall pass, but it had a key on it, and it was to get back in the classroom because the door's always locked behind you. Our teachers used to get locked out of their classrooms all the fucking time because of that. Because they would auto lock as soon as they'd leave their classroom, and they'd walk out and leave their keys all the time.
I told you my son's working with a friend of his that does construction work, like Joe Portalio does with odd jobs and stuff like this. Find something that somebody needs done and he does. So this week he's worked about 3 days with him. And the guy told Justin, he says, shoot, I'm not gonna bring the other guy in that's been helping because he's so lazy and you work. He said, I'll just have you come in till you go back to work, then I'll bring him back, you know? And that way I could pay you what I was paying him. But like they're putting in some cabinets, and the guy's gonna make about 10,000 on the cabinet work. So Justin, he told Justin he's gonna get paid well. Today they're putting in a dock, um, for it's for a boat slip by a house. They're putting in a dock for somebody. And he's got my fishing tackle box in his truck, so I get it back as soon as I see him.
So I take it that he still hasn't gotten a call, huh?
Well, he called yesterday and it went to voicemail, and because he's saying, the bottom line, his girlfriend is what's the big thing right now, because they're on a week. Uh, I want to call a regroup where she wants a week to herself, like that, and he ran into one of her best friends yesterday, and so I don't know how the conversation went, but he said, "Yeah, we're taking a break," and she said, "Wait, hold on a minute. What are you talking about?" She said, "I talked to her last Friday, and she said how glad she was back with you and all of this and all of this and all of this, and it just didn't jive the two things." And she says, "I'm going to talk to her because this woman's crazy." She
Sure.
said she doesn't realize what she has. And he says, "Yeah." He said, "I will tell you right now." He said, "I'm not going to be her friend." He said, "Because a lot." He said, I care about her too much just to be her friend." He says, "I'm not going to be like with Harry Met Sally and all of that crap." He
Okay.
said, if she says that she we're not going to be a thing, he said, "I may be moving." He said, "I may be moving to North Carolina and going to work up there." He said, "Because I can't." He said, "I'll be taking her off everything I've got because I don't want to be wondering about her." He said,
Now,
"I'm at that point where I'm done."
now, has he maybe tried sleeping with the best friend?
Nah, I wouldn't do that either. She said, but they were talking the other day, and she was saying how much she's glad he's always around and all of this stuff. She's taking him for granted. That's what she's doing. She's gonna lose this. She's got something special because they have something. If you see them together, like I said, I thought when my other son came down, they got married. When Nick came and they got married here, the night before they left, we were all sitting at a Mexican restaurant, and I tapped Victoria, and I said, "They're the next one's getting married. Look at them." Just the way they were acting. 3 days later, she wanted a break. I think she got some serious problem.
Okay, here comes a bird. Here comes a bird.
Oh,
You just missed
I
it.
saw it. Another one. He had two of them actually.
Pretend this is the tugboat right here, Joe. Right here. This is the tugboat.
See, but
That's all
this is
you
the
need to
difference
do.
between you and me, Lance. You got that unlimited source of income. So you don't care if you go in the water. Now, do you have Care Refresh or you have it on insurance?
I have Care Refresher. I think it expired in April.
Yeah, Joe, that's because Lance makes that. He makes that. You know, big university professor money.
Yeah.
making 500 grand a year.
When you've been a professor for 50 years, you make money. Look at all the money he's able to pay for his daughter to go to school.
What's crazy is those professors that get the jobs at the big universities and they get housing and everything paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah, our superintendent gets it's a clothing allowance and a gas allowance, a car. He gets a car. It's like, really? And you're cutting back teachers? Anyway.
Oh, that is cool. They're showing it's celebrating Maritime Day today, and they're showing a drone shot over the Crescent City connection to two Mississippi River bridges with a tugboat going underneath, and he's going over like this. And he's looking down. He's got the two bridges. He's in between them in the boat. That was so cool looking. And oh yeah, boy, that's a cool shot. It's a barge, a tugboat pushing a barge.
Joe be nicking that and entering it in the what's it top down.
That's the thing. I got to find a top down shot. I got till a couple of days still to enter. I can't find a good top. The only one I got, I showed y'all. I think I showed y'all, didn't I? This is the only shot that I got that I would even consider entering. And I like it and I don't like it. That's the only thing.
You have
It's
to find
this one,
one. Where, you have to find one when one of the cheerleaders has a slip.
No, they're high school. So I do have a couple of college cheerleaders top down. So, but see, I kind of like that one. To me, it's a little too bland. Although it just the colors, the blacks in there, make the picture. All the different lines and the texture, and you're looking down into this, you're seeing the silhouette of the shadow, but you see the top here, and it's a lot of details that make it interesting. But is it interesting enough to win first, second, third place?
Of course, you could always send a still from that video of you flying over the cigar boat when she flashed you.
Yeah, I wasn't. See, that's the thing. They're saying top down, straight down, but then they say bird's eye view. So is a bird's eye view looking on an angle down, or does it have to be top down? Or bird's eye view. It says both. Or bird's eye view. Because I got some shots of the state capitol looking down and look great. But you see, this one still, to me, tells me just the detail in the lines. And the fact the top sitting here is open, the crane in it, and that right there kind of helps it. But like I said, I don't know if it's enough. So I got a couple of days. When I get out over the weekend, I'll try to find something interesting to take a top down on and look at it. I've got a lot of top down shots, but not full enough to do what I want. I've got a great one of the train bridge at Pearl River, looking down, and because I took it because the way it looks, it almost looks like a cross, the way it's set up. But the water is terrible. If it was just the steady color, it had the mud all kind of blended in. It just made it look bad.
Wow, the crash was really fairly close to San Diego State College. Not
there we
super
go.
close, but kind of close.
They were trying to land on the track.
Let me show you guys. Share screen. Here.
No, but what they mean by bird's eye view is just a bird flying and looking straight down.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You looked it up, huh?
Here's San Diego State down here.
No, that's just what it sounds like they're meaning by that.
And there's
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
and not far at all.
Yes, that's pretty close. About what, 5 miles?
What's up, Laura?
Let's see if I can tell here. Let's go. Is it 5,000 feet? 5,000 feet's a mile. A 1, 2, 3.5 miles maybe.
So a physical fitness test. Okay. And we used to have a 3 mile run in the Marines. Still do. Best time I ever ran 3 miles in the Marine Corps was 17:50. Because I was determined to beat 18 minutes. I did 18:10, 18:17 when I first got in. I did in the 19s, and I said, I am going to beat 18 minutes. And 17:50. Never did it again.
It's under a 6-minute mile. That's pretty good.
We had a guy that used to run like 17 flat.
You just got back from the cinema. Would you go watch the new Stitch movie?
Yes. Laura cried when Stitch died.
Oh, he died?
It was about time.
He actually died in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, they killed him off, huh?
He sinks to the bottom of the lake.
Little alien rat.
Let's see.
I wonder why they killed him off.
I can't tell you that. You have to watch.
Because
You have to watch the film for the storyline.
I don't really care that much, but what I'm saying is it just seems to be a very popular
Okay.
character. So
The question is Aubrey into Stitch?
yes.
Is Sarah into Stitch?
No. Aubrey loves him.
Right. Well, I am not going to ruin the movie for her. You have to take her to see it.
Laura,
Hey,
Laura
David.
put a message for you in the chat.
Yeah, probably told me to F off.
Shut up, Joe, real quick. All Stitch is a alien squirrel, ugly squirrel, alien ugly squirrel. Where's Boom when you need him?
No, that's a very popular character. I even see a lot of high school kids rocking Stitch though.
Yeah, they changed the storyline quite a lot.
But it
And he's
kind
an
of makes
illegal
you,
alien too.
Yeah.
But
But
do
the
you
worst
even
bit is there's no baddie in there. You know, Gantu, the guy that goes around causing problems in the cartoon, he's not in the film.
But my thing is do you really know if he dies, or is it like they'll bring him
No,
back?
you know
and
he
then-
died.
No, he didn't die. It's like Godzilla. You thought he was dead, and he came back.
The $6 million Stitch. A man barely alive. We can rebuild him. Buy a Lego set.
They
Yeah.
try
Buy
using
a
a
Lego
defibrillator
set.
on him and it doesn't work. And then they use a car on him and it doesn't work.
I'm just surprised they killed him off though, because like I said, it's a pretty popular character.
Maybe it wasn't woke enough.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh, I was watching The Last of Us, and yep, they had to bring that shit up in there. That was supposed to be an apocalyptic TV show.
All I'm going to say to everybody is you have to go and watch the movie, get the storyline at the end.
No, thank you.
The new Jurassic Park's out soon, isn't it?
Oh, I can't wait for that. I don't care what anybody says. I've enjoyed all the Jurassic Park movies. Whether
Kate's just entered a competition for free, 2 free tickets. For
Question,
free
Paul.
Orbit.
Did you enjoy Jurassic Park?
nice.
I
Hopefully,
don't know,
Did you
rewards
enjoy? Well, the question is, did you enjoy the movies or did you enjoy living it?
well, hopefully they'll get them.
Living it
You
was
guys will be able
more
to-
interesting. Yeah.
Hopefully, y'all win them and go watch it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've enjoyed all the Jurassic Park movies. I think they were all good in their own way. Everybody wants to complain and bitch and moan about. I don't know. I've liked them all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get
from all-
the cinema card again so I can get unlimited free cinema. Because there's something coming out.
You're disabled. Laura's
Yeah.
your carer, isn't she?
Oh, of course, Jim. The first one is my
Look,
favorite
get
too.
it in free. You only have to pay for one ticket.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, that's
buying
what
one of
I'm
these,
gonna
Lance.
do. Get it with
Lance,
City
check this
Folk.
out. I'm gonna buy that.
Landfill.
Yeah, it's got the staff sergeant on there too. That's why I want one.
In fact, quite often they give the disabled people the old age pensioner discount as well.
They got two versions of it. One of it like that, and the other one is in full combat gear, holding an M16.
Are you sure those are real?
Yeah, I've looked them up. It's on the site. They're $25 a piece. That's why I haven't bought one.
That's not. That's. I mean, your average Funko Pop runs between $10 to $30, so that's not a bad price.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. It's a 250th anniversary special.
Don't worry,
I
John.
thought-
John coming out for you as well. Bringing out the Smurfs and Smurfettes.
Because the
Oh,
only
that's all right.
ones,
I'll watch that.
the only ones that I see on Amazon are these ones here.
Oh,
Yeah, Papa Smurf. Papa Smurf reminds me of Paul. No, not really, because he's more active. Papa Smurf, that is.
What in God darn hell am I looking at here?
Oh, look at.
Avatar
Mhm.
3 is supposed to be out at Christmas, isn't it?
Supposed to look
Yeah, I
like the
think so.
little army toys.
Yeah, the one underneath that there you go. There's a Marine right there to the left.
No, it's
You got the
Navy.
Eagle
Oh, yeah,
Globe and
right.
anchor right there.
I
That's a
always liked
female
them.
Marine. It's female?
I
I couldn't
always.
tell.
Yeah, it's female. No,
Yeah, well, it clearly says female.
Yeah, that's
Military
what I said. I
Marine.
couldn't tell.
Yeah, and the other one is Navy male.
I
Yeah, I'll
always
see.
loved the digital camo. I always
Oh,
thought-
Yeah.
the interesting thing that plane crash in San Diego, it was a business jet.
Hmm.
Hey,
I
Jim.
thought it was just a prop jet, a prop plane.
Right, you've had another plane crash.
It
So
was
who was
a
in there that they had to get
500.
rid of?
Yeah, but a majority of the plane crashes haven't been actual big airliners. They were been a bunch of small planes.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, I'm sure the people on board them planes were quite happy that we're on a small plane.
It caused fires in 15 homes.
Wow.
The crazy thing about small planes is those are actually safer generally if you have like a motor failure or something like that.
The fire
Yeah,
chief
the
says
big
we
planes
have
would be.
jet fuel all over everything.
My grandpa used to turn his motor off and we'd be flying in midair. And he'd turn it back on after so long, after we'd just coast for a little while. He used to do it all the time.
I heard a comedian last night talk about he was on a plane and he said it was a little bitty plane. It was like the size of a piece of chewing gum. He said, and one of the engines failed like this. And he said they announced it over the loudspeaker. He said the kids just turned around and said, "We lost oil pressure in the engine." He said the same thing. And he said, and the guy next to him started freaking out. And he says, "Well, how long can one engine take us if we're only down to one engine?" He says, "All the way to the crash."
Like my grandpa was crazy flyer. Dude, one time he was coming to visit us at my mom's house in California and he was flying in. He flew in, came to the barbecue, and then he went to fly out and he dive bombed my mom's house. And I mean, so low that the tree next to our house folded over and hit the roof
Wow.
in his little Mooney. And he was hauling ass, dude. He just came down and said, "Row," and just fucking, and I mean, he was like right above the tree. Like he could have hit the tree if he would have been, just a few feet lower. And the whole tree just went woof and then hit the roof and came back up.
They spray for mosquitoes by you with the trucks, right?
Who?
You.
I've never seen them spray.
Okay, because they do
I've
the
seen
mosquitoes here, but they do them with the trucks, but they also do them with a plane.
In
They've
North
got a plane that's
Carolina,
equipped
they
to do it.
did.
Yeah, and the one with the plane, it's all programmed. He takes off, and it's all like a waypoint thing, waypoint setup. And this sucker will fly. The first time I ever saw one, it was when we moved back here, and that sucker buzzed my house. And I had a tree in the back that was about 130 feet, and he might have been 30 feet over that tree. That's how he buzzed it that much, and he buzzed it 2 or 3 times from different angles. Man, I said, "Oh Lord, what the hell is this?" I thought somebody was getting ready to crash. And they still do that about twice a week maybe. When the mosquitoes start coming out, they fly this plane, and it buzzes us here.
They
Just goes
do.
back and forth.
And
When I
they're
was in
spraying,
North-
they're spraying at the same time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, when I was in North Carolina, they used to have the trucks, and they would drive real slow down the sides of the roads, and you just see like 100-foot cloud coming out, just spraying insecticide, and it'd go about 100 feet off the edge of the road, and it was mainly to get all the.
Because it becomes a different situation, to be honest, and give you the behind the scenes here. It sounded like San Diego police were okay with us being, relatively close to the plane crash scene. However, when the federal investigators get on scene, it becomes a different story. So from our understanding, NTSB is now here on scene. I did see somebody walking around with an NTSB shirt, so we know that to be the case. And they're a little bit more strict as far as having media in the middle, in the mix, in the middle of the investigation. So that was the reason that we were kicked out of our last location. I want to show you right here something else that we've been seeing quite frequently. Police coming out with animals. Can't really tell what that animal is, but
Pissed off one, that's what it
we
is.
saw,
No, that was an opossum.
with basically a
She just doesn't
wagon
know her
carrying
animals.
a little bit ago. So we're seeing a lot of animals, maybe pets, being located.
That wasn't a
throughout
pet.
this
That was a wild animal.
as we're getting ushered out
It looks
of
like a
that
little kitty
scene.
cat. No, that's a fucking possum.
Yeah, some little kids going, "Where's my possum? Where's my possum?"
Are the remains of the vehicles that
What's up,
corner
Russell?
home that looked to be the most damaged. They were going inside of the garage, so a lot more. They're digging a lot deeper, if you will, into this investigation in the last few minutes or so.
Nicole, can you once again give us an idea of just exactly where you are in relation
Why has she
to
got a
where you
smile
were
on her face?
Really at the crash site?
Like
and
she's
whether
trying
or
to hold
not-
back a laugh.
well, depending on
Yeah.
the answer, let's go with that one
Looks
first.
like she's had cheek implants.
Okay, so we're at the
Yeah, it might
corner
not be a
of-
smile, Dave. That's just implants.
I know, but he's not the best look to have with reporting.
A lot of Botox.
Can you imagine them in that neighborhood trying to land a business
We're gonna
jet?
put our camera up the street.
You know what we need now?
To the home that we were
Super
standing
glasses
at.
woman.
So we're exactly a block away from our last location.
Fucking hell, was that TJ?
Sample Street.
With the blue hat on?
So about a block.
Had the
away
mustache and everything.
This plane crash happened earlier this morning.
And also, the deputy fire chief said that the debris field was pretty wide. So, number one, do you see any kind of evidence of anything from the wreckage? And secondly, do you smell any jet fuel?
On the second question, a resounding yes. We have, as we've gotten closer to the crash scene, the smell of fuel has been very intense. Where I started out at the Navy Exchange, it wasn't very strong, to be honest, but then when we came over here, we had to park down the street. We had to walk maybe about a half mile up to get to the street where the plane crashed. As we were walking, you could start to really smell it. So we've seen hazmat crews here all morning, but that smell is very strong.
Yeah, that's a citation too.
It kind of just hits you as you walk closer into this neighborhood.
And Nicole, we have more questions for you. And by the way, while you're talking here, if our crews in the booth want to throw up some of the video that we've been seeing from early this morning, which sort of goes to what you're describing here. I have a question. You at one point had talked about the fact that you had seen a yellow tarp out on the street and such an ominous sign that someone did not survive this. We don't know whether that would be connected to somebody on the ground or whether that was someone who was inside the aircraft. What can you tell us about what you saw and where that was in relation to some of the video we're seeing here of the street?
Jesus Christ. Look at all the cars.
So
Can you imagine a citation jet coming down through there?
Where I was standing, as opposed to the
Like that incident we had many years back over here from the air disaster. You had an air show, and the airplane came down and it went straight into a traffic light area where there was
for the pilots and perhaps any passengers.
lots of standing traffic. Completely wipes them all out.
So, I mean, it's one of those situations where you kind of have to go by your instincts, and obviously I've reported on several of these plane crashes, so you kind of read between the lines a little bit, and so far it's not looking like a good situation. But yes, we did see at least one yellow tarp, and we know what that indicates because we've covered so many emergency situations.
Good
like
God.
that.
Nicole, as you've been talking about it, we've actually been seeing what you were describing, that tarp, which was inside some yellow caution tape, which was close to some of the
right there, you see the yellow tarp?
Oh, we're going to let you go because we want to get to our other camera, which is on the scene. And we have a number of the leaders from San Diego gathering here. We have Chief Robert Logan from the fire department who will be kicking things off, and we also have Chief Scott Wall from the San Diego Police Department behind him, as well as Mayor Todd Gloria.
Good morning. My name is Robert Logan. I'm the fire chief for the San Diego Fire Department. Spelling of my name is R-O-B-E-R-T, last name Logan, L-O-G-A-N. This morning at approximately 3:45, 3:47, we have reports of a plane down in the Murphy Canyon neighborhood. San Diego Fire quickly coordinated response for a plane down incident, and our units responded and started to investigate. Upon arrival, they found multiple vehicles on fire, excuse me, and multiple homes on fire. Now I'll pass it to my Assistant Chief, Dan Eddy of Operations, who was here to give you more information.
Dan Eddy, San Diego Fire. So crews arrived on scene, the initial crews that found multiple houses and cars on fire. We had reports of a plane that had crashed in the neighborhood. It was unknown whether it was a military or a private plane. When they got on scene, they initiated quick attack of the fire and upgraded this to what we followed by a second alarm, so we had enough units on scene. We were able to work with San Diego PD, evacuate homes across the region as we came through here and evacuate everything to the south of us. We were able to knock down those fires. At this time right now, we were able to say that no one was transported from the scene. So we don't have anybody that was transported off the scene, which is great news for us on this one. Fire was knocked down. We do have one stubborn car fire that will not go out to the south of us. So if you do see little wisps of smoke behind there, that's what that's from.
Fucking Teslas.
At this time, we're continuing to fight the fire on that car fire. Everything else is out from the homes down the way. We have multiple crews that will be on scene doing decon and investigating. FAA is also on scene, and we're working in conjunction with them and San Diego PD to ensure that everything is searched, including the homes and everything that is involved with the planes itself. We expect to be out here for 4 to 6 hours at least doing the investigation part of it until we pass it along. And then moving forward, we'll probably be here through the rest of the 24-hour period. I'm going to pass it off to Police Chief Scott Wall.
Good morning. First, I want to start by saying our heart.
Why is the Navy there?
That are impacted by this terrible incident.
They're gonna find out the Navy shot it down.
Very simple. Scene control, traffic control, and evacuations. We had officers from throughout the city that responded. We had over 50 officers that were able to get here within minutes. We started evacuating all of the homes that were impacted. We had an evacuation center up at Miller Elementary.
Gonna find out some Sea Whiz went nuts on one of the ships. Hey, what's going on?
You did.
Arrow is still closed.
There we go.
For the next few hours and on into the day.
I want to know why the Navy's there, though.
Commend all of the first responders that were out here this morning. The fire department, the police department.
Well, that's maybe he lives there.
I can't quite put
Nah,
words.
he wouldn't be in the press conference, though.
Jet fuel going down the street and everything on fire all at once. It was pretty horrific to see. And for the
Unless they're just out there helping clean up or something.
anything and everything we could to try to save somebody's life is really.
Because they do
heroic.
have a big naval station in San Diego.
And again,
I wonder if that was a neighborhood on the naval base.
with that, let me introduce Mayor Todd Gloria.
I also want to extend the condolences of the city of San Diego to
Look, Jason.
aboard the plane's families, those that are impacted here on the ground. We will be continuing to keep you all posted throughout the day as more information becomes available. But what I can tell you right now is that we have had an extraordinary response effort here, led by the San Diego Fire Rescue Department, the San Diego Police Department. But what you've seen is a collaborative effort with county, state, and federal partners, as well as our partners in the community. We have representation here from the Red Cross, the San Diego Humane Society, and other key partners that are making sure that those who are impacted here on the ground have the support they need. And that's what I want to say is that our city will be supporting these families. Who are
Oh, he's
impacted.
one of those. He goes,
Our city,
they're impacted?
community, and we will support them for as long as it takes to make sure that we get back to good here in Tierra Sana. Appreciate it, the early communication from Navy Region Southwest and Admiral Brad Rosen, who's an extraordinary partner for our city. I also want to note Councilmember Raul Campillo is monitoring the situation very, very closely. He'll be out here later today. Make sure that this situation is buttoned up. Again, extraordinary effort by our first responders. I can't emphasize that enough. Invitation in
why do we
terms of
need like 5 people just repeating the same shit? Just tell us what happened.
piece of their professionalism, and I think every San Diegan expresses our
Yeah,
appreciation.
I've told you. Plane crash.
Got the job
Well,
done.
the thing of it is, they said they didn't transport anybody to the hospital. But my question is
Because they don't know if anybody's dead in those houses yet.
how is the pilot?
Well, they don't. They haven't. They
Not
haven't looked
transported
at.
anyone yet, but a few
I know,
people.
they haven't said
Right.
anything yet. It's,
Here's what the. This is the plane that crashed here.
I would be surprised if people on that plane survived.
It was a Cessna Citation 550 or a Cessna Citation 2.
That's because from 1981, they probably didn't take care of it.
Well, this isn't the exact plane. This is just
Well,
one
it's
that's sold.
registered out of Alaska, the company.
But this is what the plane would have looked like. This is just a representation of it.
Now let's get down to serious business. Check out this fish.
oh, the Navy guy's up. I took it off. The Navy guy's
Nice
up.
fish, huh? Well, that's a nice fish. Look at that fish.
Oh, she's ready to take your picture right there.
Look at that fish right there. That's not a camera, Paul. That's the thing for the fishing pole.
The strap
on.
It's a strap on.
That's a strap on, huh? Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
Nice
when
fish,
that
huh?
fish starts tugging, she gets excited.
Here we go.
Nice fish.
And we're going down the gutter.
Yeah, there was only one reason that girl was in that fucking video, and it wasn't for the fishing.
Oh, it's for the fish. Showing you
No.
the fish. Okay, y'all the ones that went all the way. I was showing you the fish.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
Joe, you believe whatever you want to believe.
I
That
was
girl
showing
probably-
you the fish.
That girl probably never even fished or even caught that fucking fish. She just had that on because they knew that people were going to make fun of the fact she had that belt on.
Now, what she actually is the fishing guide. I'm going fishing with her next week.
I don't believe that.
She's after that video, she's booked up for the season.
You can't get in anymore. She booked up for the next 10 years till she starts looking different.
And there it is.
South of us.
What?
At this time right now, we are able to say that no one was transported.
Yeah, Jim, my grandpa had 2 Cessnas, little small 4-seaters, and 2 Moonies. That was the main planes he flew. But he also flew for one of the companies that did the fire planes. He flew those big ass planes that would drop like fire retardant and stuff on the fires. I'm not sure what kind of planes those are, but
Well, the Cessnas he had, was it a top wing or the regular wing?
top wing.
Yeah, the one they had at 29 pounds was a little 1-engine Cessna. That's the one I flew. I was flying, learning how to fly.
Yeah, his Moonies weren't top wing. They had the wings on the side.
Yeah, I can't remember the number of it. What the actual aircraft was.
I just know the Moonies were so comfortable. Like I said, they were like the Cadillac of small 4-seater planes.
They just announced that guy that killed that young Israeli couple in Washington, they have now signed a death warrant for the case.
They need to. It's a hate crime.
What do you mean signed a death warrant?
In other words, like if he's found guilty, he's put to death.
You mean the death penalty?
Yep.
Yeah.
A death warrant?
Well, that's what they called it on TV. It starts out as a warrant, but then the judge has to sign off on it.
That must be some weird thing in DC then. I've never heard of them label it as death warrant, a death penalty.
Well, can you imagine that the guy just bought a ring and was going to propose to his girlfriend there in a week when they go home to Jerusalem?
Well, the sad part is that they're dead. The happy part and all of that is you don't have to put up with the married bullshit sometimes.
Oh my God.
I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
That
So
might have
what
been
you're-
my
what
lowest
you're-
thing I
What
ever
you're
said here.
saying is he should send a thank you to the guy, or what?
Oh my God, shut up.
That might have been the lowest thing I've ever said here.
Oh,
No, I've said lower things about Biden, so.
planes go through. Yeah, annual inspections every year, Jim. Yeah.
Outbound for Black River is the Calumet 1048.
Got the guys spraying today. And I'm trying to listen outside to kind of hear them. Because I got to get that bunch of animals I got back to the back.
Oh yeah, Jim. I used to go flying with him all the time. He used to let me take off and land and do all the pre-checks and everything. Like I said, if I got in a small 4-seater plane, I could probably get us off the ground in an emergency. I don't know how well I'd fly, but I could get us off the ground. I used to do like all the pre-checks and all that.
What's that song? I think I can fly. I can fly. I can fly.
I believe I could fly.
I believe I can fly. There you go. That's going to be Justin's theme song.
No,
That's the theme song for the Neo.
No, he would let me fly and everything. I always did really good. I was actually really good at landing the plane.
Oh, Lord help me.
Well, yeah, what goes up must come down one way or another.
It's been a few years since I've been in one, but I probably would remember if I got in there. Never heard of what?
Netanyahu last night. I was with Ambassador Leiter, and Prime Minister Netanyahu called while I was with him. I spoke to him, and of course he was devastated. He was devastated, and it broke my heart to talk to Bibi last night. He was devastated, and I assured
Here I am cleaning my glasses off and all I needed to do was rub my eye and it cleared it off.
devastated by this. And
That's the part of getting old I hate right there.
I'll rub your eyes.
there's no place for the tape in our country and in
A death warrant is a legal document formally authorized. Yeah, so that would be after the case.
Yep.
Yes, I can tell you that. Yes, the question was, has the threat level been increased? I can tell you, security.
That makes sense, JD, but he was saying that like they already assigned it. That he has to go through a whole legal thing now, whole court case first. And that's even if DC even has a death penalty. And the death penalty is kind of useless in most states anyway, because even the ones that have it, those fucking people sit on death row for 20, 30 years, sometimes ridiculously long times, before they even put them to death.
Yeah, and you have to pay for that.
You might as well just give him a life sentence at that point. There's a lot of states that have death row inmates that have been sitting there for 20 plus years. And then there's states that keep going back and forth. Well, you know, one decade they're for the death penalty, the next decade they're not. Yeah.
Hey, Lance, guess what I got coming in tomorrow?
No, unfortunately I don't, Jim. I wish I did though.
Hey, you're mute.
You have a second Neo coming in.
Oh, shoot.
All right, Joe. All
Well,
right, Joe.
My let me see if I can find it and I'll show you, Jim. My grandpa actually owned an airport, a big chunk of the airport in California City.
Hey, Lance, how did you
He
guess he's
sold it
got
a
a
little
second
while
Neo
back.
coming? And that's his response.
No,
You
what I
have
got
a-
coming in tomorrow is the cable, 2 cables coming in from DJI for the Power 1000. One of them to charge the Mavic 3 and one to charge the Air 3S.
Ah.
Ooh.
I had credit in there. It cost me $7 for both cables.
So when he moved from
And you have to update the firmware.
I probably do.
And it's a special way, so get a hold of Dre.
Do you have to have the dongle to do that?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Because if I need the dongle, then I got to order a
Dre's
dongle. I forgot
listening.
about that.
I'm sure he'll pipe in here.
So these
I
right
bet you
here-
need the dongle. You
Let me
said
show
Dre
you.
once, Dre 3 times. Okay, come on, Dre.
Let me show you,
Come on, Dre.
Jim. So when I was
4 times.
when my
Hey, Dre,
grandpa
Dre.
when my grandpa moved from from Kingman, Arizona, he bought this big old chunk of property on the California City Airport in California. And those
Damn.
are the 3 hangars he had. One
Nice.
was for they did upholstery in one, engine repair and like maintenance in another. And then one of the buildings they did where they actually casted parts. Like they could actually make plane parts. They had a bunch of big industrial machines and stuff.
Wow.
See, here it is.
He
Well, I
sold
told you.
that probably 15 years ago. It's been a while.
Hey, here comes Dre.
They got a
Dude,
woman
yeah.
holding a dog. I thought it was an ugly baby, man. God darn it.
But they were big hangars, Jim. Those buildings are look a lot bigger.
Good
in
morning,
person.
Dre.
They actually had to
Well, I didn't want to disappoint.
Thank you.
When my grandpa got remarried, he had his.
We know how to
wedding
find you.
over.
Just say your name 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Like mudball, mudball, mudball. Watch.
I wish I had pictures though, Jim. No, I don't have any.
So the cables that come with that go with the Power 1000 to charge the Mavic 3 and the Air 3S series, Air
Mhm.
3 series. You have to update. Do you need the dongle?
What are you trying to update? The Power 1000 or the
Yeah.
drone?
Or do you have to update it for that?
No,
What's up, Brenda?
it's not required, but for you to use the solar panels
You
or
have-
to use
yeah.
the if you're buying the Power 2000, you have to update.
I mean, you won't need a dongle for all of that unless you're updating, right? And the
Yeah.
dongle's something different.
Yeah, if
Are
you're
you
just
saying
charging the
dongle or
drones,
goggle?
Dongle.
dongle.
Yeah,
Dongle.
Louisiana accent.
Hey, I'm sorry.
It's that Cajun stuff you got down there.
Dongle share.
Cajun.
Good
got
morning,
down?
Brenda.
You
Yeah,
got
if you're just
down?
charging your drones, you don't need to update. But if you're going to be using the solar panels with it or using the Power 2000, you will need to update.
I
Because my
forgot Joe
plan
had that.
is where it's at right now on the end of the desk. I think what I'm gonna
Mhm.
start doing is charging my Mavic 3 and if I get the Air 3S, I'll start charging it with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that will work.
Does it
I may
hurt?
even wind up moving it back here and charging it back here. You know, I don't
Does
know.
it hurt though if you buy that power station and you just like never use it and just let it sit for long periods, or is it good to kind of run it through a cycle once or twice a month and kind of use
No,
it?
I don't know about
holds
once or
its
twice a
charge.
month, but I would use it.
It holds its charge for quite a while. I never had mine run down, but like I said, power went out the house for about 3 to 4 minutes. And I'm here at work. The girls all panic, before they go to work. The power's out. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? I gotta ask 101 questions to make sure if it's just my house or the whole area. Then you gotta send a notification to Edison. But it's so weird. Your power goes out, then Edison tries to contact you after the fact.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have a full-on house generator today.
I'm moving that direction, just not in a hurry. Right now, matter of fact, 2/3 of my solar panels are not even working because the inverter is went out.
That's what happened to Matt's recently, and he had to pay I think he said he had to pay like a few $1,000s to get it replaced.
No, mine's they're gonna replace it for free.
His were over 15 years old though. I think it was out of warranty.
Okay, yeah, I'm still on the we call it lease plan, so they got to replace that for free.
Yeah, he was on it just recently went out like 2-3 months back. We were talking, and he had the same problem where all his solar panels weren't running efficiently, and he started getting an electric bill, and then he realized that the inverter was bad, but he had to replace it out of his own pocket.
Wow.
I think he paid like $2 or $3 grand or something to fix it.
Yeah, that's a big ouch.
Yeah,
yeah I can say it was kind of funny because my parents, I told you about how their power went out and the reason why. So I just got to thinking, let me check, because there's an app on your phone. And like I said, I even have a device that tells me if everything's working properly, which it was all showing me green lights. But so I didn't know. But when I checked the app on my phone, I noticed that the amount of watts that I was producing was way down. And that's why I knew then. I said, I went outside, looked at the screen, and had that little error message there on the one inverter, the original one. have two on the side of my house. And the bigger one was what went out. It controls about 2/3 of the panels that I have. The second one just has little lights that go across.
Have you thought you don't have the battery bank? I'm assuming you don't have a battery bank for your solar panels.
No, like I said, they didn't have those when I first got my panels. 15 years ago?
Oh wow!
They didn't have those battery banks. But
so
now,
let me ask you: now that your panels are that old, are the newer ones any better? In a 15-year
they say
span?
they're more efficient, so you don't need as many. Just like Tesla sells shingles, and I've done inspections with these shingles made by GAF on houses, where you the shingles are the solar array.
I've never actually seen one of those.
Go in between the shingles every 2.5, 3 feet wide. There's a power strip type of thing.
Right.
But in between them are regular shingles that are the solar array.
Oh, wow. So
it's not always the glass panels like it started off to be.
You think yours are still good enough though, to where you don't feel like they need to be updated?
Well, like I said, over the years, it's been consistent, which I can't argue with that. As long as it's consistent, you can't complain. I'm not getting less until something goes wrong.
Now, do you get to put the money? You can put the electric back into the grid. Solar panels.
I haven't got to that level yet. My parents on theirs, they get a credit, and they add it to your account. So,
but they don't actually give you money, though, right?
No, they don't. They don't give you no cash. It's going to be a credit on your account, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I mean, and that's why I'm glad that my other daughter finally got another job. She's working at she's going to be working at the animal shelter, and which means she'll work the daytime hours. My other daughter, she doesn't go off. She still does tutoring. and stuff for kids. So that's not until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She goes out after school program and tutors some special need kids at different schools.
Let me ask something. Why do you have to be connected to the grid still if you're producing your own electricity?
You know, that's the catch all.
It's a backup.
No, but they force you to stay connected, don't they, Dre?
Well, a lot of areas do, and like I said, it's part of the control factor. Because if you were completely off the grid, that would be a great thing. That's why I've got as many panels as they would allow me to have, because I wanted more. I want on one side of my house to the other side. In other words, when the sun rises, I wanted to hit the panels on that side, and I wanted to put another 10, 15 panels on the other side on the end of the day. And they said Edison wouldn't let me do it.
And I don't see how a private company can determine what the fuck you do in your house and they have nothing to do with your property.
Well,
That's
just
bullshit.
like I say, it's the utility companies still control a lot of stuff, just like with gas companies. You know, they are, you know, if I put a wind solar thing, you know, windmill, it's be the same thing. They would only, even if I was overproducing on a regular basis, all they would do is credit my account, even if I was overproducing.
See, I just don't see how that's. They really need to change that, because I don't see how a private company can dictate what the fuck you do on your property just because they're not making any money off of you. That's bullshit.
Well, like I said, they change the game plan all the time. It's like I say, the plan I had to start with is not the plan I have today. And I think it's just all about them staying in control, not allowing people to be totally off grid and getting credits back, and so to speak.
Yeah, that's I just don't see how that. I mean, I guess is that a federal thing or more state by state?
It's both. I mean, like I said, it can be city by city, because like I say, every city has the potential of having a different provider, just like cable TV. There are some cities that have their own electrical plants. Some cities have their own water plants, or whatever the case may be. Others have to share. So it all depends. It can go from city to city, county to county, whatever the case may be. All depends who your provider is. And that's why I don't like about the fact that, in my opinion, I think all utilities should be capped at $50. Because there is no as they say, freedom of choice. Whoever your provider is for your area, that's who you're stuck with.
Yeah, what's crazy is
you don't get to shop around who provides electricity to your house, who provides the gas to your house. You don't get 2 or 3 competitors.
That's like over here. We actually have a apartment complex that's massive. I mean, it's huge. And one side of it's Tico, and the other side of it's another company. I can't remember the name of it. Duke Energy. And so they actually split the apartment complex in half. Depending on which side you live on is which power company you have to go with.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, so I'm like saying, you don't get an option to say, well, I might want to go with Tico. I like what they offer over what this other guy offering, but you don't get that choice.
Over here in the UK, you do get a choice. You can, you know, today my provider is OVO. If I decide this afternoon, fuck it, tomorrow it's Octopus. Yeah, or Shell, or British Gas, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're all sharing the same lines, probably. That's why.
Yeah, the National Grid provide the electricity, but then the companies do the billing. And it's amazing because with OVO, I get a lot cheaper deal than people get when they pay with British Gas. British Gas is supposed to be the big provider, but it's not, because it's owned by Centrica, which is part of Spanish network. Yeah, they milk it for all it's worth.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick with my British provider.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's nice when you have options, because I mean, it's going to be a trade. It's like I know people who change their cable provider almost every year, depends who's offering the best deal.
Yeah.
And you can shop around for that. And my thing is now it's better because now you can keep your same number. Before that, you had to change numbers and all this kind of stuff, swap out equipment and all, this is my thing is most of us like the convenience of consistency in our household. I don't have to worry about who my phone provider is year to year. And like I say, if I want to make a long distance call or whatever, do I use a house phone or do I have to worry about using the cell phone? It's not the hit and miss guessing game.
So have you thought about doing the battery banks instead of a generator?
Yes. I say the battery banks, if it had been around when I got mine, I would have definitely opted for it. Because like I said, these mandatory or what they call it, voluntary high winds power grid shutoffs is becoming more of the norm than it is the exception.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying that, I would like to be able to have that. That might be my next step because all you get, as long as you got the stuff, you already have your collection. When you get solar panels, you have to upgrade your normal power box inside the house. Okay, you got to upload it to a 200 and something level power, whatever it can handle. Anytime you get solar panels, so I already got that, so I can add anything to my existing array. So that's not, I said, I've already done the hard part.
All right.
So I can say, I can have the batteries hooked in or a Generac system hooked in, whatever, because I already got the hardware is there. So adding more to it is not a big deal. And that's why I said when this guy comes out with this, supposed to come out on the 4th of next month. And that's what I'm gonna ask for. I said, because I know these Tesla inverters do have a self-contained battery backup, but it's a little small one. It may last maybe an hour at the most. But I say, hey, with 2 inverters, I should be having a little bit of battery backup. I don't care if it's an hour, 2 hours, better than nothing.
Right.
Until I decide to actually go with the full battery backup. But then you got to talk about, you have battery backup systems, where are you going to put these backup batteries at? I got to make room in the garage for these batteries.
Well, I know the Tesla ones, they go up on the walls, the ones I've seen.
Yeah,
like,
even then, I mean, been in my house 30 years, dude. I've covered just about all the wall space hanging up, lawn equipment, cabinets in the garage, all the things you do in life. Now you got to talk about, I got to make room for this crap.
Right.
That means the other crap's got to find somewhere to go.
I mean, it could be bad, but it's not Ron bad, where Ron's got all his animals everywhere.
Yeah.
He's got no
I mean,
space.
It is varies anywhere you may live in any state, any county, any city. It may change. Like you say, large apartment complex has 2 providers, which is very rare, something like that. But like I said, I just know cable companies are very notorious like that. They carve up a city in sections. One person you may know live in one part of the city. Well, I got Verizon or Frontier. The other person says, I got AT&T. And somebody, back now said, well, I still got Spectrum.
See here, I actually do have a pretty good choice of cable. Well, I don't even call them cable providers anymore because they're more internet now.
Yeah, it's more
But
internet stuff.
there's 3 of them just in my area of town that I can choose from. You got Spectrum, Frontier, and there's one other one. I can't think of the name of it. And you can go with either one of the 3. They all have lines running through the neighborhoods.
Yeah, I remember when I first bought my house, 30 years ago. The one company that they told us was supposed to support our area kept saying, no, we don't have that area. And we all had to go with a company called Cross Country Wireless. And they put a little antenna on your house and pointed south direction. And it connected to another larger array somewhere else. And then what got me about a year and a half later, there comes Charter Cable coming through, knocking on all the doors, talking about, well, hey, would you like to? I said, dude, I tried to contact you knuckleheads when I first bought this house, and you told me you didn't service this area, and all along you didn't know you serviced this area. So I told him, you can go pound sand.
Oh, I remember when like Verizon started running fiber optics, but they only had so many connections per neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you would
I
call
couldn't
them and be
wait.
like,
I couldn't wait for that to happen, dude. Ooh, I was waiting on that. But it'll come in
yeah.
and put the fiber optics in. I'm like, yes.
I called Verizon up in our old neighborhood about 10 years ago when we first moved here.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh, well, all our connections are already used up. We don't have anything for you. And I
Yeah.
was like, what kind of customer service is that? But
No
now
kidding.
they're not limited. Now they can hook up the entire neighborhood if they want.
But I watched them, drill into the ground, run them cables about every 50 to 75 feet. They
Yep.
had to go into the ground, run the cable in to the next junction. I've always been one of the first people on my block to get whatever Verizon's offering, or Frontier, what they call themselves now. I was the first one to get dial up, first one to get the fiber optic, first one to get 1 gig. Now I'm up to 5 gig. And when they come to my house, they send 2 or 3 trucks. The other guys show up to see how it's done.
Yeah, I'm up to 2.5, but I'm at that limit anyway. Like my computer physically can't do more than 2.5 on the Ethernet port.
Well,
but that's so
your
fast that I don't
your
need
ether port.
anything faster.
Yeah, that's your
I mean,
ether port can't handle any more than that. That's why I had to learn. I said, because I told the guy, I said, dude, I'm paying for this 5 gig and I'm not getting it. And that's why I had to learn about the actual router, and then if you use switches, all this stuff's got to be compatible at what you're
Yep.
feeding through it, and even your actual computer. If your heart, and I could people talk about wireless like it's hardwire. I says not. Your wireless is way below what hardwired does.
Oh yeah, if I unplug my computer, like if my computer's plugged in, I'll usually average like 2300 up and down.
Right.
But the minute I unplug it and I go to Ethernet, it drops to like or to a Wi-Fi, it drops to like 1300 up and down.
Oh yeah.
Around there. Like I'll lose almost half of it.
One vision, I haven't made any stickers in over a year. I think the last time I had stickers was right before I went to the Vegas meetup. I haven't sent to get new business cards or stickers made in a while. I'm lazy about stuff like that because it's just not that important to me. Sorry.
TJ's going to be on in a minute. Someone mentioned stickers.
I know. Yeah, that's my thing. That's why I learned that I had to go get a new switch that ran off the because on my router it has a 5 gig and a 10 gig port. So I ran the 10 gig port. Had to get another switch that handles at least 5 gig, no 2.5 gig, and then ran that through the wall from the garage into my office, and then ran wire to the computer because the computer maxes out at 2.5.
Yeah, I got a 5-port TP-Link switch that's 2.5.
Yeah, so that's why I did not. I actually connected that to one of the older switches I have, and connected the rest of the stereo equipment, the receiver, the DVD player, and also my streamer that I have in my office.
Your DVD player runs off of that?
Oh yeah, my DVD player had a spot for Ethernet. Yeah.
What the hell would you be using that for, though?
Well, back in the day, streaming actually started with your DVD players.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They actually started.
Yeah,
so I don't use it for that purpose, but
it's there just
like
in
I say,
case.
anytime you update audio equipment, it's always best to use it when you're hardwired. Just in case it does not have Wi-Fi. But like I say, my receiver, Pioneer receiver, same thing. It has Wi-Fi and Ethernet, and I hook it to the Ethernet.
Yeah, because you're not going to be bogged down by having 20 items plugged in, but you will if you got 20 items on your Wi-Fi. You'll start noticing bogging down.
And that's why I get the whole point. People get comfortable having everything on Wi-Fi, and they think everything is running at the same speed. I says no. I said that Wi-Fi is getting chopped up everything is connected. I say I got 5 TVs in the house. All let me say the one downstairs has the cube, so that one's hardwired because it's right through the other wall of the garage, right into the family room. But all the rest of the bedrooms, TVs are run off, the Amazon stick, Wi-Fi. Okay, let alone both girls have laptops, and the youngest one has a laptop and a regular computer in her room running on
Well, and then you
Wi-Fi.
got to include everybody in your house. I guarantee has a cell phone.
Well, that's what I'm
So,
saying. Everybody's
yeah.
got cell phones, and they automatically connect once they get to the house.
Yep.
Pull up in the driveway. That phone is connected right away. Bam.
And most home routers and all that, I think they do have a limit, and it's usually like 40 or 50 devices.
Right.
Once they
I have
hit-
two. I have
yeah.
two. I have the main router comes off the the Frontier box, and then I have that one hooked to a second router. Just
Oh, you
like
got
say,
like
you
a
said, that
mesh
give me
system
more
kind of?
connections. And then I said I have 6 security cameras, which run off Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And they run off the lower band with the 2.5 gig. And most, like I said, the TVs, most of them are running off the 5Gs, and all the phones, the laptops, all this kind of stuff. And I say, and people don't realize, like I say, in my house, I have a streamer, master bedroom, back patio, living room, family room, my office. Well, my office is hardwired. So I got 4 streamers, music streamers, in all those other rooms on the house. So I got close to 50 items that are running off the wireless.
Oh yeah, like I said, you don't realize how much you're dependent on the internet till it goes
You know
out.
what, Dre? I feel so depressed now that I've only got 18 items connected to my Wi-Fi.
But the thing is it's almost like internet has become such a necessity these days. You're almost limited to not being able to heat up your hot pocket when the internet goes out.
Well, I will say it's become part of the unknown part of our daily activity. Like I say, people don't think about how the toilet flushes until it backs up.
All right.
It's just something we just take for granted, and that's the way Wi-Fi is today. People take it for granted. I remember when I was, the internet was first coming out, people thought it just came out of the air. It just came out of the air. This is before Wi-Fi. I had to go to people's house and no, it runs through your phone line, and you got to have it, certain protocols you had to work with. This is way back in the 90s, dude, and stuff. And I would buy a certain amount of lines from a company, and then I would resell them to people. They'd be able to get their own email address and all this kind of stuff. And they were thinking you just catch it out of the air. And I said, no, you got to connect it to a phone line. Yeah.
Well, you're right there, Dre, because Kate's toilet at her flat is connected to the internet.
Can't even take a shit. Wi-Fi goes out.
It's got an automatic flush. As soon as you stand up off it, it automatically flushes behind you.
Yeah.
And does it analyze the shit and send you a sample and all the reports?
It has a remote control for doing the B-day and stuff like that.
Although I have found it funny how people have hacked the Samsung fridges now. We've got Netflix on them in the kitchen.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even think about that, Justin. The refrigerator, the dishwasher, the
washing machine and dryers now too.
Yeah, those are on Wi-Fi in my house.
Even stoves now have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the stove too. The stove too.
You're even sure. That's why I said you're short of
the oven needs to be clean.
That's why I said you're short of having it in your fucking microwave. It goes out, you can't even heat your hot pocket up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I can say everybody thinks everything's automatic until it doesn't work. And then my household always get blamed. What did you do? I said I didn't do anything. I wasn't even home.
Oh, dude, if the Wi-Fi goes out,
right. The TV
like you won't.
work.
Now check this out, Dre. You won't hear a peep from my kids, but the minute the Wi-Fi comes out, it's like cockroaches coming out of everywhere.
Well, that's my whole point.
They'll start pacing around in circles and shit.
Yep. That's my whole point. Is like Nobody cares about it until something doesn't work.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it becomes a national emergency in my house.
The minute
Like the power yesterday. Well, the power's out. I said, well, did you go outside and check the box? You know, check see if the any fuses trigger or anything? No.
yeah, the minute the Wi-Fi goes out here because of like maybe the power might kick off or something,
Mm-hmm.
dude, me and Sarah will be like sitting in the bedroom. I'll be like, watch, here come the kids. And here we go. 30 seconds later, all three of them coming through the door. Why is the Wi-Fi not working? And then they'll be pacing in fucking circles like zombies till it pops back on.
Yeah, that's the deal, man. First thing my wife said, "What did you do?" I said, "I didn't do anything. I wasn't even home."
Start blaming you for it.
What did
Oh
you
yeah,
do?
I get blamed for everything, dude. Get blamed for everything. Anytime nothing don't go right in the house, it's my fault.
Yeah, a bad boy, Dre, taking their internet.
Yeah. I say TV don't turn on right. I said, did you try it again? Did you unplug it from the wall and plug it back in? You know, simple stuff that people used to do. No, but it's not working. So what did you do? I don't even watch TV in the family room. I got another TV in my office.
Dre comes home, finds 20 texts running across everything in his house because the TV wasn't
You
turned
tr- in the right.
Yeah, about 7 years
Tex
ago.
got all, he's got all that money. He got TVs in every room, probably out in the bathroom.
Yeah, well, 7 years ago, our internet went out. And as soon as it went out, our next door neighbor come knocking on the door. He went, "Has your internet gone out?" And I went, "Yeah, why is yours?" He went, "Yeah." And I went, I'm on the phone to him now. I went, "You should get on the phone to him yourself." He went, "I can't. I don't know whose internet I've been using. Cheeky fucker, I've been piggybacking on mine." He even had them cheats and knock on and asking me internet went out.
Yeah, I've seen videos like that on YouTube. People come next door talking about, why'd you change the password for? I'm like, excuse me?
How the hell did you get the password to begin with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eldon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Penny's a
Penny-
freeloader.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Penny,
And-
get
and
your own
get an
Wi-Fi.
attitude, get an attitude with you because you changed the password.
Yeah. Penny, get your own Wi-Fi. No spaces.
Yeah.
It always has to have that bit on the end. No spaces.
Mhm.
I like the episode where he actually hacks it. They try hacking it back in to get Penny back on. And he goes, "Hello, puny humans." It gives them all a strike.
There was
Penny with the panty pinata.
There was a body cam footage video I saw where a neighbor actually called the police because the neighbor refused to give him the Wi-Fi password. I was like, what the hell made you think you had the right to their Wi-Fi password? And well, two, how did you even get it to begin with?
Mm-hmm. And I can say now the script has been flipped because now technically that neighbor is stealing services.
Yep.
It's theft. It's considered a crime called theft of services.
Over here now, on your router, you can actually set a certain amount of bandwidth for guests.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's the one I have on my security camera. I have that second network where I use, I'll give it to guests. That's what my security cameras run off of.
yeah, well, that's what I was tempted to do because we get on well with the neighbours. Yeah, we set up a guest one and just set it as a free Wi-Fi for people.
No, I don't let it out there for free. But when the kids were at home, their friends would come over and stuff. They say, "Hey, can I use Wi-Fi?" And they give out the password. I'm like, stop giving the knuckleheads our password.
Dre's got like 20 people up in his
Yes,
front
a
yard. using his
router.
Wi-Fi.
A router One Vision. You know what one of them is?
And I could just see Dre's house, 20 people parked out on his front lawn.
ROUTER. Router.
That's what it looked like after the hurricane, dude. Everybody, Starbucks was one of the few places that had Wi-Fi, and there was like, dude, that parking lot was jam-packed with people.
Mm.
And then the internet sucked because so many people were connected to it.
Yeah, everybody's chewing up that bandwidth.
I was over there just trying to download
Yes,
some
that's how
shows
you
on my phone.
spell. That's how you pronounce it. Spell it. It's spelled router, R-O-U, router, not a router.
Well, we pronounce it route, like route.
Route would only have one on.
Yeah, even your Route 66 should be Route 66. But
actually, no. In America, they actually do call it Route 66.
They
do.
do.
About Route 66, but when we give you direction, we say take this route.
But I've heard people with
we say take this route.
Same spelling, different pronunciation.
But Route 66, I've seen people. I've heard just as many people say Route 66 or Route 66. It's
like I said, same spelling, different pronunciation.
It's kind of a personal preference.
That's right, One Vision. It's the King's English, and being from Lancashire,
JD, what are you talking about?
The King's. Yes, a boot. That's Canadian.
Like aluminum and aluminium. We got it right, and they don't.
Yeah, where's that at?
We have it right. You get it wrong.
Hey, David,
No,
that's
you got it
kind of
wrong.
sexist. You know that, don't you?
What is?
King's English. It isn't the Queen's English.
Well, it used to be the Queen's English, but unfortunately, she's no longer here, so she can't
So
claim
change
it.
it to the King's English. You might be right.
No, we have called it the King's English.
Oh,
When
well,
it-
that's wrong then.
No, when the monarch passes on, the King's English is the proper Lancashire accent. So it's King's English or Queen's English. Yeah.
Well, you guys better hope you don't get a trans ruler, because now you got to figure out what pronoun to use.
It's
Well, shoot,
it's
they already having a
English.
problem making proper tea. They don't know how to make it in the microwave.
Yeah, they don't know how to
Pack
make
it in.
proper tea.
Pack it in.
You know, microwaves are designed to give you good tea.
No, microwaves are designed to cook food, right, to an edible level. Tea has to be boiled over
Okay.
the drinkable level to infuse the tea to get proper tea, and then you use the milk to add taste and texture and also cool it down.
You got it all wrong. You put the milk in, you put the tea bag in the milk, you boil the milk. Then you put the
Why
lemon
would you
in
put
the
the
water.
tea bag in the microwave? Pack it in.
All right, hold on. So we're going to do a little history here. The first IP
Internet
router was actually developed in 1975 through 1976 as part of a DARPA initiative. So it's American made, so we're going to call it router.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's American
Defense rep.
made.
Yeah, American made between UCLA and some school in South or North Carolina and MIT.
Well,
Were
guess
the
what,
developers-
Justin?
were the developers
Al
of-
Gore invented it.
No,
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry, right? You may think America made it, right? But now it's Chinese made, so fuck you.
Actually, the router over here would be what? Router? What is that?
Rotor rooter.
Rotor router?
Rotor
Yeah.
rooter.
Rotor rooter.
What the hell's that for?
It's
That's when you go get a
To clean out your pipe over your pooper pooter.
colonoscopy, a rotor rooter.
Yeah, so a router over here would be like kind of what a snake would be the layman's term for, which you stick down
Yeah.
in a pipe to clean the pipes out.
Mhm.
There's a company actually called Rotor Router
Yeah,
over
well,
here. Big
they used to
national
have
brand.
real popular commercials during the
Yeah.
late 70s.
Strangely enough, a router over here is a tool for cutting wood, for cutting and shaping wood.
Yeah, we have the same thing here. We call it a router.
in, David.
Yeah, we call that a router.
Yeah,
But
we
that
call it a
thing
router over here too.
out for
That's,
cleaning.
that's what I say. Same, now same spelling, different meaning.
Well, in the U.S. too, like because the U.S. is so vast and different cultures and different states, dude, there could be one word and they pronounce it different in 10 different states.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because of their accents and different
Yeah.
things like that.
Like the word idiot, where Dre's from, idiot is idiot. Where Captain Joe from, idiot is idiot. Where Paul is from, idiot's idiot. Where Justin's from, idiot is Justin.
Haha! Fucking funny.
That's all. That's all I always use the
You
term.
know that was going there, Justin.
Bunch of Justins.
Yeah, and that thing that you described and said you call a router, that's what we call a router.
You talking about the tool?
Right.
Well, bro,
We
you have
we
a
call
hand
that
router too, which
We
is a
call the
wood.
tool a router.
Yeah.
The wood lay tool, a router.
Yeah, it's a hand tool.
Or anything for
Or the more modern term for the handheld ones would be the small one, the Dremel.
Dremel, yeah, we got a Dremel.
I got a Dremel. I love
But
that.
a Dremel takes the name from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because now,
Right.
if you buy the Chinese knockoff version, it's still called a Dremel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Hoover.
Yeah, like
That's
whenever
like
you guys
Kleenex.
say,
Anything you get like that is called Kleenex.
Yeah, we're hoovering up.
no, we just say vacuuming. Hoover's a brand. Vacuuming is a task.
Well, Hoover could be the
Frigidaire
girl
for the
down the way,
refrigerators.
though.
Well, why don't you say you're doing the J. Edgar?
No, Hoover could be the girl down the way.
Yeah.
Hoover's the girl that walks around Anacron. Marcus was in Anaheim the other day, and he was at a.
Yeah,
he was at a.
I heard and I felt a disturbance in my force that someone
Yeah.
was in my area.
And the funny part about it, he was about a block
Mhm.
right there, right down the street from Disneyland.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was flying in, driving in, or whatever. I know he drives a lot of places that he goes.
Yeah, every night you can look out the kitchen window and watch the fireworks.
No, from
I can-
Disneyland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can watch the ones from Legoland from my house too. They do them every couple of weeks. They do them every night for like a week straight.
Yeah.
And they're loud as fuck too.
Going back to the way we say things as well, we do have to remember that American is literally just another British accent. Yeah.
Man working.
So like you guys say things differently and you more or less understand, but yeah, if somebody from Newcastle or Scotland said something, we can't understand the fuck they're saying.
That's not always true now. Some deep Southern accents can be really hard to understand. Because like Joe has a Southern accent, but it ain't a deep one. I've heard ones
Yeah, but we still struggle to understand him.
I've heard way worse ones than Joe's.
Oh, by the way, Craig, did you see last night's stream?
For who?
The poll stream last night. Did you see it?
No, because
Oh, you missed it.
Stayed on. I went over and watched.
Captain Joe came out the drawer.
Drone Nation.
Yeah, Captain Joe came out the drawer.
No, the cupboard.
No, he came out the drawer. He found the earrings in the drawer.
Here we go again.
Yeah, and
Joe,
then and
I
then
didn't see him wearing the earrings.
yeah, but then he then tried to say, yeah, that he found them in the drawer, but then he said, "I've not worn these for a while."
Well, I guess I did miss a lot.
Yeah.
I've started a lot with this charity event, and now they're all coming out.
I told Joey.
I came into the room and I remember him, Paul. I think it was just Paul and Dominic, and Paul said something about where's everybody at, and then they said somebody they might be over at Johnny's show and stuff. No, our Herman's show, and I'm like, oh, okay.
No, Herman's doesn't start until an hour after Paul.
I thought he starts at the same time, 2:00, same as Paul. Well, 2:00 my time, same as Paul.
I thought he was an hour later.
No, because
No,
on
he starts
Wednesdays I
at
go back
5
and
o'clock
forth.
Eastern time.
Stop.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I go back and forth on Wednesdays. All right, have both of them on at the same time. But I just remember it was just Paul and Dominic, and Paul was wondering where everybody was at.
Mark, are you interested in the cricket?
Not particularly. I don't bother watching it anymore. My
Well-
brother, Jared, will be listening
Yeah.
to it.
We're into 60 overs of a 4-day match, and we're already 335 for 1 against
Yeah.
Zimbabwe.
Mm.
Did you see that meeting with the the African president yesterday. Oh, dude,
Oh,
that dude
God.
looks so.
He, did, he went
He
all
looked so uncomfortable when Trump was showing that video.
Yeah, he went all Zelensky on him, didn't he? He ripped him apart.
That dude looks so uncomfortable. He wouldn't even look over at the screen when he was showing him the video.
He said, "Turn down the lights. Let me show you this."
Yeah, he Trump and him really set him up.
See
big
what
time.
he did. What he did to
Homeboy came back with a
Zelensky.
good line on him though. He said, "I'm sorry, I ain't got a plane to give to you."
Yeah, that's all that.
Yeah. So what he did to Zelensky, I don't agree with. What he did last night, I do, because it did need to be called out, and I hope he does the same to Netanyahu and all them. Yeah, that are all going around thinking they've got sport. They've really got. It's really good that Trump's going to say to him, "Hell no, you face this."
But yeah, it was that guy that president looks so uncomfortable though. Like,
By the way, Dre, Joe's gone Christmassy.
I wonder why they named him after an internet company.
who?
Yahoo.
Yeah,
Earrings, right?
Yeah, I didn't even put that together.
Same reason they called named Trump after a fart over here.
Yeah.
Hey, Dre, I've got a tie tack. It's a staff sergeant chevron. And when my son came in the last time, I stuck it in my ear like that. And he walks in and he looks at me and he goes, "Okay, staff sergeant, I'm pulling rank. Take the shit out." Eyes hurt.
It looks like Janet Street Porter.
I wanted to see his reaction to it. I
Now,
said,
has he-
"Hey, maybe
has he
you are
deployed
learning
yet?
something."
Has he actually deployed yet?
No, he's on a ship right now. Let's see, it's been about 2 weeks. He's got 17 days. He comes back, and then the 22nd of June is supposed to be going back out for 3 weeks. They've been doing 3 weeks, 3 weeks, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. That's what they're supposed to do. Then they're going to get deployed, just like a practice run, getting
I
everything.
said they haven't even gone anywhere. They just been going around in circles off
They're
the
just
coast.
cruising the East Coast.
Right. Just
So,
doing
but
practice
he's thinking
exercise.
that June 22nd is going to be the actual deployment day. They're going to move it up from August.
Yeah. Now is this going to be a med float for him or what? He'll go to Spain and
Yes, it is Spain. I think he said Netherlands, Denmark, all that area, all that coast area up to Sweden area,
okay, that's
UK.
That's going way up north. But
Yeah,
usually-
he's going up north, but they're coming down to Spain, and then they're gonna start up top and come down.
Oh,
And when they get
okay.
down, they said they may go into the Mediterranean.
Right, because I say usually going to med between the north end of Africa and the southern end of Europe. They hit Spain, Portugal, Italy, all those
Greece,
spots down for med.
Turkey.
But I haven't really heard them redo that northern route like that.
Cyprus, Malta.
Yeah, that's the med flow. But going up to the Netherlands and the UK, and that means you could probably stop off at France, make a left turn and drop off in France.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to go in between England and France to get to Holland.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's a whole different type of.
No, you can go the long way around, like
exercise.
on the M25.
They'll probably go a long way around.
If they go the long way around, they go around England and Ireland and come back down.
Yeah, because that's what I mean. Depends if they're going to Belfast.
Norway.
It's likely they'll go into Southampton and then move out to Belfast and then go around Scotland and down to.
Oh, bloody cruise ship.
He said it's not a bloody cruise ship. David's
That's
like,
why I
they're going
said it was
sightseeing.
odd that they're going that direction, because that's not, like I said, that's usually a whole different type of deployment when you're going to the North Sea.
Yeah.
area.
It
Like
might
I said,
not be a cruise
med
ship.
float. A Mediterranean float starts with Spain and goes
Yeah.
between the southern European countries and the North African countries.
Yeah. Right. But anyway, it might not be a cruise ship, but them ports I just told you are the
Goes-
military ports.
Goes across to the
Southampton, Portsmouth, and Belfast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the Navy doesn't necessarily stop in ports, so they stay on the move. You'll have resupply ships and like C2 Greyhounds that will go get supplies, but the actual fleet itself doesn't stop. They stay on the move.
And this is a Harrier fleet, and they got Ospreys on there, so the Ospreys can bring them the stuff they need.
Right, they bring that, and then you'll have a supply ship that will go get, mail, different things like that, and then they'll come alongside the carriers and the other ships. They shoot the lines across, and then everything gets like taken zip line across.
You can just imagine they park up next to one of the North Sea oil rigs and say, "Fill her up."
Yeah.
Because like especially the carriers, their only restriction of stopping literally is just supplies, like just food and stuff, and jet fuel and stuff like that. But the ship itself, that thing's good for 25, 30 years. They don't need to stop for fuel.
And I'll tell you why I think that's the route he'll do. Because when that US ship crashed in the North Sea, that's the exact route it did.
Well, he said the last one that went out, they said they went up, started in the north, and they wound up all the way to Greece and back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but like all the main fleet, like the destroyers and the subs and all that, they don't stop in ports on a regular. They stay on the move, just constantly moving. The security thing too. You don't want a freaking carrier parked constantly in ports all the time, and becomes a target.
It'll be fine if they park over here.
And there's only so many ports in the world that could handle a U.S. carrier. That's a big fucking boat.
They'll be fine as long as they don't park up in Liverpool.
Yeah, then find itself on bricks. Liverpool, I don't think Liverpool can take military ships anymore.
I was stationed at Camp Smith in Hawaii,
But,
and from the hill you can look down on Pearl Harbor and see all the ships in there. And when the Nimitz came in, the first time the Nimitz came in, I remember walking out and looking down at Pearl Harbor and having to do a double take because it was like 3 times the size of everything else in there. It was huge.
And Gerald R. Fords are even bigger.
Yeah.
They're not much bigger, but I think they're like, 40 or 50 feet longer than the Nimitz. I mean, it's not a huge difference.
I went on the base and got next to it and looked up. It's like being next to a freaking building.
Oh yeah, it's a city on fucking the ocean, dude. A moving city. The one good thing about the new carriers, though, is they said they only need about half the crew that the old ones did, because the old ones was like 6,000 or something. And the new one, they only need about half of it. Because the way they designed all the new systems and everything, they don't need as many people on there.
You got iRobots walking around.
Well, the biggest compliment on them is the Marine Corps, isn't it? It isn't the sailors.
No, we're not the biggest compliment on it.
Well, the Marine Corps has their own carriers. They have the helicopter carriers. They got 9 of those.
Yeah, that Iwo Jima, that's what my son's gonna be on. Iwo Jima.
That's the ones that the F-35 STOVL take off airplanes and the helicopters take off from.
When they come back,
Dre, that's because
Harriers
they interviewed a guy at Fleet Week this morning on the news.
Yeah,
he was an admiral or whatever, and they says, "Well, how many people are on here? 324 people." He says, "But there's 1,700 Marines on board."
Well, the Marines
depends on the type of ship.
Yeah, it depends on the ship.
And the Marines are considered an amphibious force. They're part of the Navy, technically. I mean, they're their own, but they're kind of part of the Navy.
Well, I say when troop transport, yes, you're going to have more of the troops on there. But like you said, if you're doing, what do call it? Well, those will be LSTs.
Yeah.
Landing support troops, whatever they call them for. Then you got the LHPs, which is the helicopters and stuff. Then you have a different balance of a complement of Marines versus of the naval personnel, because all the flight operations are going to be the Navy personnel. You might have Marine pilots, but everything that supports those aircraft are going to probably be the naval personnel, because that's who's operating the ship.
Uh-huh.
You know what's funny too is like about air forces is The U.S. has the largest Air Force. The second largest is the U.S. Navy, and then the sixth largest is the U.S. Marines. And that's in the global rankings, top 10 air forces around the world. And they got 3 of the tops, like in the top 6.
And Nick said the only reason he's there on that ship is because he's a maintenance officer. He's
Right.
just there for the supervision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he said they do all the work. He said, I just got to make sure they're getting the right stuff.
Yep.
Oh, did you see the Marines aren't using they're not using the Abrams anymore. They got rid of it. Only the Army's using it now.
What to replace it with?
I don't think there was some new tank or something they were working on.
DJI Mavic 4.
I don't think it's out yet, but they officially stopped using the Abrams tank though.
That would be a big change in the Marine Corps mission, not having actual tanks. I mean, you got actually battalions. Tank
Well,
battalions.
they did say they
Yeah.
were going more towards a rocket projection type force where they're going to start using more rocket projectors, stuff like that. I don't know.
That don't sound too much right, but
That's what I'm trying to figure this out. I said that's a big
you got to
difference
go
from
one.
an actual tank.
Yeah, they're like changing the Marines up because they actually took some of their budget because they're trying to streamline the Marines to where they don't have to have because they realize they don't have as many people as they had in previous years. So
And the Marine Corps only, on an average, only has about 160,000.
And that's with
total.
reservists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that
At the largest, we swell up to about just under 200,000. Normal operations in Marine Corps about 150 to 160 something thousand. At the skinniest, we might be down to 140 something thousand.
you guys used to be the smallest branch till the Space Force came out because they only got like 15,000 people or something.
Well, Space Force is just a break off branch of the Air Force. That's all it is.
Yep.
It ain't no separate thing. It's part of the Air Force.
Yeah, they do all the fancy shit from space, satellites, tracking, all that crap.
Yeah.
yeah, our budgets have been cut so much in the Marine Corps. We know how to do everything with nothing now, so it doesn't matter.
That ain't nothing new.
And apparently, to get in the Space Force, you have to be highly intelligent. Like, I guess that's like the hardest one to get into now.
Hey, Drake, when I was at 29 Palms and they were rebuilding, we were put into a new barracks area. It was one of the open squad bays where you got just the bunks and the foot locker. I mean the lockers, right? Wall lockers. We had brand new wall lockers, brand new bunks came in and everything else, but we still got an open squad bay.
Right.
I sat there and I said, well, can we get it petitioned off? Because I was being put in charge of it. You know, and they said, no, we have no money for that. I said, if we find a way to petition off, can we do it? And the colonel started laughing and said, go find a way. I made a phone call down to supply because I was supply. And I
Right.
said, you know, all those petitions that y'all tearing up and y'all getting ready to throw away, can we have them?
Yeah.
Like that. And they said, what are you going to do with them? I said, we're going to paint them. We're going to clean them up. We're going to paint them. We're going to put them in the squad bays and petition it off so everybody have little closets in little areas. They said, sure, you could have all you want. Like that. We went down and figured out, we drew it out, put it in our side. We had little cubicles for everybody, 2 in a cubicle. The
Right.
colonel came in and he said, oh, damn, this is nice. He said, where'd you find this stuff? I said, we got it from
Okay.
supply. We just painted it, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called the Force Design 2030. The decision is part of a broader recognition called Force Design 2030, aimed to adapting the corps to more align with Navy's centric role in the future.
Ops. Wow.
So they're focusing on lighter, faster, and more agile assets, believing that they will be better suited for the types of engagements they anticipate in the future. So yeah, it
So
looks like
that's just the different makeup from a mule to a MEU to a what's the other one? FA something. I can't pull up it won't pull up on my
So
computer.
yeah, they're no longer fielding the tank battalions anymore, where they're going to rely more on the Army for armor support.
Well, whatever. Because like I say, every level of the Marine Corps is different.
DJ.
Marine Corps Force Design. Let's see if that'll come up for me. There it is. It's just a different modernization Marine Corps to better address future threats, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region, which means Southeast Asia. Again, launched in 2019, it focuses on revising force structure, weapon systems, and trained to pivot for counterterrorism operations to counter peer advisories. Key priorities include enhancing stand-in forces, littoral operations, and international cooperations to maintain the Marine Corps status as a premier fighting force. The initiative is ongoing with regular updates on its progress and implementation.
Yeah, because the video I watched on it, they said something about they're going to start operating more missile type systems.
Yeah, I'm trying to find what breaks down. Here it is, Force Design 2020. This is a breakdown of what it's going to consist of. I'll share it.
Because I think what, like you were saying, yeah.
So
the way you were saying, like island warfare, I think that's what they meant by the rocket, like rocket project, be them like, I guess, going after naval assets in a certain area from key points. I guess I don't know.
They don't break it down, but like today, like we call a MEU, MEU. Today, Combat Logistics Battalion, Engineering Support Battalion, Landing Support Battalion, Transport Battalion, Supply Battalion, Maintenance Battalion, Medical Battalion, Dental Battalion. They're going to change it to this Combat Logistics Battalion, stays the same. Engineering Support stays the same. This when they start combining crap, the distribution support, which they put landing support and transport together, and they're putting supply and maintenance together under Material Readiness Battalion, and they're putting all the medical together under Health Service Battalion.
Same thing, different names.
Yeah, same thing, different names, combining things into one other type of stuff. What they're talking about.
It sounds like they're trying to streamline it more, is what they're trying to do.
They probably are, in a certain sense. They probably are talking about streamlining it. But like Joe and I said, you know, when Joe was in, it was a different makeup. Because when I came in, that's when all these MEUs were developed. Marine Corps emergency units or expeditionary units. I'm sorry. Yeah, Marine Corps expeditionary units is what they were. And those were the rapid response units that got deployed wherever we needed.
Hey, Dre, when you said emergency, I almost spit all that water out.
Yeah. Expeditionary force. Yeah. But that was basically that the mantra for that is they can be deployed anywhere on the globe within 72 hours.
Apparently recruitment's back up again, so I don't know.
For who?
It's supposed to be. That's what
for
they're
the
saying.
entire armed forces. They said it's gone back up to where it needs to be, and it's slightly actually higher now the last few months.
Don't miss that
Now
assignment.
5 people signed up instead of 3.
Yeah, I said, don't miss that assignment. That was one of the hardest jobs I ever had in life, period, was being a recruiter.
And Pete has what's his name? Hedsick or whatever his name is. He reinstated. So if you got kicked out of the military for not doing the COVID thing, you can get back in now with no questions asked. So I don't know if any of those guys are going to go back in, but they're offering their positions back to them if they want to come back. So
I think they're offering back pay too.
Yeah, they're going to give them all the back pay for the time that they've been out for.
That made me go back.
Trying to tell you.
Yeah, but you didn't get kicked out because you refused the COVID shot, though.
No, I mean, if I did, I would have said, pay me the money. They owe me the money. I'm coming. I'll come back.
Yeah, because you got.
I'll be honest with you, Dre. If I was healthy enough and I was young enough, I'd go back.
3 or 4 years of back pay.
I had a dream the other night, back in boot camp. You know, I had to wake up quick
I haven't had a boot camp dream for a long time. I've had Marine dreams.
I had a boot camp dream the other night. I was like, man, let me get out of here. I ain't playing these stupid games no more.
Yeah, most of the time when I have a dream about the Marine Corps, it ends with me saying, telling somebody, stay in your lane, bro.
Think about it.
I got
though,
that
that's like-
shirt. I got that shirt that says, it's got the Marine Corps emblem on it. And it says, just remember, I'm this old for a reason, son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think about that. That's like 3-4 years of back pay. That's a good chunk of money.
Mm-hmm. That's better than reenlistment bonus.
God, all I can think of is in the Army now.
I used to hate the recruiters because every time they come and get me for reenlistment, I'd have a bonus sitting there. And then when it come the time for me to sign the paper, the bonus would be gone. Every time, 3 times. The bonuses ended 2 months before. Or something like that. And I saw him when they stopped. I said, you got to be kidding me. The last time I said, I need to sign up early. The guy says, okay, we'll sign up next week. Because the bonus was sitting there. Within 4 days, that bonus was gone. They must have heard me coming. I said, what if I wait? He said, probably not coming back right away. And sure enough, it didn't come back till about 2 months after I needed to reenlist. But I could get it on the supply side. It was a little small one on the purchasing side, and that was a big one. I mean, 1 year it was sitting out there like $25,000 sign-on bonus for 4 years. And I looked up and it was gone. I said, what? Put a freaking date on, give us an expiration date on this. Get people sign up now. Oh, we got enough. Take it off. That's what they do.
Yep.
As soon as they get that quota, stop the bonus. Right now, you know who's got the biggest bonus in the Marine Corps? And I laughed when I heard this. I heard this during Mardi Gras. Marine Corps band.
Wow.
It's got the biggest bonus right now, and it's a steady bonus. I can't remember what he told me it was. It was like 25, 30,000 to keep these people in because what they're doing is signing for 4 years and getting out.
Right.
And nobody's coming into the Marine Corps band. So the people that are staying, everybody you look in the band now is staff sergeants and above. You got very few PFCs and Lance Corporals. Actually, most of them are Lance Corporals now because you get PFC out of boot camp and you get Lance Corporal when you graduate school. They got sergeants now. Sergeants now is drum majors. Used to be at least a gunny. Had to be at least a gunny. You can start training as a staff sergeant, but you had to be a gunny before you become one. Yeah, they had a female sergeant at Mardi Gras that was the drum major at the last parade I saw him in. I put it like this. I would not have ever messed with her. Just the way she looked. She looked serious.
Oh, you even get, so check this out. For the reinstatements to your former rank and eligible for back pay, bonuses, and other compensations that occurred. So you even get the bonuses if there was any.
Here we go, giggles time.
You know, I didn't even say a joke. He's off.
I know.
Hey, I like the haircut. I like the haircut.
Where you
Check
go?
out that haircut.
Also fresh and so clean.
You haven't done it right though, according to Dre. Dre is you need it like that.
Oh, like Dre has?
Yeah.
No hair at all.
Well, guys, the shorts have arrived for my charity event, and I'm not wearing them for the charity event. I'm going camping with them.
You're going
They are
camping?
fucking huge.
He's going camping with him.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go back and have to get some smaller ones. Jesus Christ!
Well, you can't get a G-string much smaller than that.
A G-string.
What sucks is buying clothes up.
If you need it smaller than that, just get a couple of rubber bands, you know?
That's why I'm not a big fan of buying clothes off the internet.
Which one is you,
Thanks,
Joe?
Jim. I appreciate that. Appreciate that,
You can't
Jim.
see Joe in that because he's too small.
No, Joe took that photo, so he's not in it. That photo is way too colorful to be back when Joe was in.
I'm sorry, but you have to feel for that woman with that fucking big trombone thing right next to her ears. That is the baddest position to be in that fucking parade.
Those things are. I tell you what, those things are heavy as hell, man. Because when I used to be in the marching band, we had the sousaphones, and those guys, they literally were holding them they had them over their heads and on their shoulders, man. That shit was heavy.
DJ, I know. I used to play the trombone.
Oh, did you really?
Trumpet, trombone, and drums.
Oh, there you go.
I was actually in a one-man band, TJ.
See, that's the thing, man. I always wanted to play the drums in the marching band or wherever, but I don't know, man.
TJ, I used to be in a one-man band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I split up because of musical differences.
Oh, shit.
I think that went over his head.
I know.
The one-man band split up.
The one-man band, yeah.
I can picture David walking down the street with harmonicas and blowing things and the cymbals between his knees going like that, you know.
All the Shriners in their little cars.
Oh, yeah. The Shriners in their little cars. That's funny.
Jim, Jim. Sure.
I like the. I like when they have the little race cars and they pull the ramp along and they go over the ramp.
Yeah.
I used to do that in the ones in California when I used to go to the parades.
That was Mudball and his dune buggy.
DJ, you busy tonight?
No, not really. No, why?
Jim wants a date.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm gonna see y'all later on.
All right, Dre, don't work too hard.
Hey, Dre, stay out of trouble.
Don't worry, TJ. It was something you said.
Dre doesn't get in trouble. Trouble stays away from Dre.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like some people say, I don't get into trouble. Trouble finds me.
Yeah, I don't get into trouble. I am trouble.
Yeah, that too.
Like Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the world down.
Oh, yeah. Chuck Norris can only eat one potato chip.
These are the Shriners in their little cars, and then they have the ramp car that they drive.
Oh, that's cool, too. I've never seen that before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a bunch of them have them, and then they'll drive their cars over the ramp.
Yeah, they don't have them here.
You've never seen
they
those
probably
before?
run over people here.
I've never seen
Yeah,
it.
see, look.
Whee!
That'd be fun
that's
as
cool
hell.
as shit.
I thought maybe they got air or something.
That's the go-kart. Rhino's go-kart.
Oh, you wouldn't want to in those go-karts. If you break your back, they have no suspension. I had a cart like that was off-road, but it didn't have any suspension, but it was kind of an off-road one. And I went over a little sand berm one day, and the back end came slamming down, and I threw my back out. I was like 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah, I actually got banned from the go-kart racing on one of them because I slammed my mate. When I went round the corner, I slammed my mate off the track, and he went over the tyres, and I couldn't understand why he was complaining that he was badly injured with his back. I was like, you bounced on the tyres. Then I realised there is nothing to it. No suspension, no shit.
I used to have a go-kart when I was little, man. I would be doing all kind of power slides and shit like that.
Yeah, but you were pedaling, wasn't you?
No, it was a motor one.
Oh, me and my cousin, we had one, and the steering broke one day because the bolt broke or whatever that was holding the steering. So me and my cousin thought, oh, we could fix it. We stuck a little bolt in there that wasn't made for it and screwed it on, and we were going down the road, and I was following him in the other go-kart, and it broke, and he went right into this dude's chain link fence. Fucking busted the guy's fence all up.
That happened to me, but not on a go-kart. I was on a push bike. You know, when I learned to ride, Yeah, I put the handlebars on, thought I'd tightened it up enough, started riding, fucking sort of jerked backwards a bit when I hit a bump. Fucking handlebars come off of my hand. I got nowhere to fucking go. I
Well,
had to keep going.
luckily, my uncle was kind of one of those all around like handyman that could like work on anything in a house, fix fences. He went down there, fixed the guy's fence, and the guy didn't even know his fence was broke before he got home. It looked like because my cousin ran right into the pole and bent the pole and like V'd it, and the guy's chain link fence was all like fucking hanging and fucked up. My
That
uncle went
reminds
down
me of
there. He pulled the pole out, put a new pole in, got the chain link back up, stretched it back out. You couldn't even tell my cousin hit it.
that reminds me of Only Fools and Horses, where Del Boy and that go out to a house to decorate a house, and they put the kettle on and forget about the kettle, and then they go in the kitchen and find a budgie in the cage that's dead. So they rush out and buy him a new budgie before he gets home from work, and it turns out the budgie had died before he went to work.
But we did end up telling the guy because my uncle made us go down there and apologize to him for hitting his fence. But the guy wasn't mad because my uncle fixed it, and he was like, "Okay." He goes, "Honestly, I didn't even know my fence was broke when I got home." He goes, "I didn't even you couldn't tell." My
Yeah,
uncle
and then
did
he
it like
and then he shut
perfect
the door
job
and
on
went
it.
to his missus. You know, them idiots down the road have just fixed my fence. That it's broken for a while.
You never seen that ramp either, Jim? I thought that was so common because I've seen those at multiple parades over the years in different areas. I thought that was
First
something
time I've
common
seen
this
it.
time.
I've seen something similar in the Red Bull folk races. I've not seen it go karting.
Well, I'm saying I thought that was pretty common with the Shriners, the ramp cars. Like I've seen them, not just in California. I've seen them in other parades around the country I've been to.
That was the first time I've actually ever seen a ramp like that. I've never seen that before.
Maybe they're not as common as I thought they were. I thought that was pretty common with the Shriners because they have the old school looking like Model T cars like you saw a minute ago. But then
Yeah.
they do the go-kart thing too, where they drive around in circles real fast and then they go over the ramps. And yeah, I thought that was pretty common across the board with the Shriners.
I mean, it is, but I've just never like because I always see the commercial for it like over here for like the kids at Shriners Hospital or whatever, and they tell you about like if you give like a certain amount of donation or whatever, they'll send you the blanket with the big Shriner teddy bear on it or whatever. But I've just never seen you do that ramp.
That's from Shriners Hospital.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know it's really common for Shriners to be in parades with like little cars, but I thought the ramp thing was a pretty common thing across the board. I didn't realize.
No, I've never seen it before either.
Yeah. Either that or they might not do it anymore. The last time I saw one was probably 20 years ago, but that may be something they don't do anymore because that video did look pretty old. That video looked like it was at least 15 years old, if not older. Or maybe just some of them have them. I don't know.
That must be something new. Must be something new that they recently started, I guess.
Yeah, you should ask them, Jim, next time you talk to your buddies that are in the Shriners. Ask them if they have the ramp car or if they've ever been on one. And there may be some places that just don't allow it for safety reasons too, you know. Because like the parade we used to go to in California all the time, it was on a big like 6-lane main road that went through the city, you know. So it was really wide. They had a lot of room to do donuts and circles and everything. It was, you know, it wasn't like a really little 2-lane highway like that one was. Because they would drive a bunch of big military vehicles in the parade and stuff too, because we had Fort Irwin and all that there. And so the military would always come out in force with a bunch of vehicles and drive them down the road. They even had tanks a few times come down there. And you'd see them swinging the guns around in the middle of the road, the 120 millimeter cannons, because they wouldn't hit anything because it was such a wide road. They'd get right in the middle and they would swing the turret around in circles. Too many of the guys are catching air. Yeah, you definitely want to practice though. But that looks like fun though. I would totally do that.
Yeah, right.
You just read my
Star Trek
mind because
Voyager on Pluto.
within the next day or so, I'm going to call and ask him. Yeah, find out, Jim. Because I'm sure he knows of them if he's never actually been on one, but he probably knows of them. My grandpa had a little, he had a golf cart that looked like a Model T. And I mean, it was detailed too. Had the horn and everything. It was a super detailed golf cart. And it looked like a Model T. And then he had one that looked like a race car. They were four-seater go-karts. And then he also had he had the go-kart Model T, the race car, go-kart, or golf cart. And then he had a little go-kart Model T that matched the golf cart. But it was like, you had to be really small to drive in it. It was like kid size. But
I always like it when you go to those fun parks and they have the go-karts that you can ride around in and stuff.
I loved going to my grandpa's. He was the one that flew the planes I was telling Jim about earlier. You'd go into his house and he had all these little remote control like cars and shit. And he had all the like heavy equipment remote control, like the skid steers and all that. And he would always play with them in his living room. And when we go over there, we got to sit and play with them all day. He was into RC planes. Like, yeah, he did all that shit back in the day. He had remote control planes. He had a remote control. He had a remote control plane that looked like a lawnmower. I don't know why he decided to do that, but
that's hilarious. Jim was talking about. He's like, I kid you not. One of my friend Shriners, his clown name is Giggles.
I wonder why.
Yeah, but that's not a name that I would put past somebody that is doing a clown character to be named. Like that kind of fits that kind of character, I guess. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there dress up like clowns that have used that name.
Yeah.
I felt bad because this one lady was doing she was a clown and she was doing clown stuff, and Kelsey was having her party at Pizza Hut one year when she was real little. The lady was doing all like the balloons and everything. And I said, did you have to go to school for that? She goes, yeah. She goes, I actually went to clown college. I said, is that a real thing? I said, I thought people were bullshit when they said there was a clown college. She goes, no, that's a real thing. I said, holy shit. But I felt bad because the way I said it, it came off like, I don't know, it sounded like it came off kind of mean. And I was like, I'm not trying to be mean. Because I felt bad. I went back in there and told her, I was like, I wasn't trying to be mean or not. I was just like, I was really curious about it.
Yeah, you were just thinking she might just be just a regular bozo. Huh?
No, it's just I didn't think clown college was a real fucking thing. But I guess you have to be really into clowns to actually go to school for it. That's crazy.
Let's see. Clown college.
Oh wow, it's crazy, Jim. Well, TJ's looking into it. He's like, I wonder if they're taking applications. You know, he's researching it.
So it says the most well-known clown college is the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College, which was established in Venice, Florida in 1968 and closed in 1997. It was a training program for professional clowns focusing on skills like juggling, acrobatics, and comedy. While the Ringling Brothers Clown College no longer exists in its original form, other clown schools and training programs continue to offer clowning education.
Yeah, Ringling Brothers, they shut down, what was it, about 10 years ago?
Yeah.
They filed bankruptcy, but I think their name got bought by somebody and I want to say that they were talking about reinstating it, like reopening it, because that name is just, it's a classic name, Ringling Brothers.
Yeah.
Like they were around for like what, over 100 years. One of
Yeah,
the
because
world's
I
most
remember
famous.
I remember when I was little, like I would go to the Barnum and Bailey's, and they'd have like all the tigers and the acrobats and
Yeah,
shit
like
like
Barnum and Bailey's and Ringling Brothers. I think they teamed up, didn't they? At
yeah,
one point? I think they became one.
yeah, that's what
But
it was.
those names are just synonymous with being like the most well-known traveling carnivals. I mean,
It's the TJ Circus.
there's actually a house in Haines City when we're on our bus route, and it's a training place for the people that do like the what is it called? The ones that do like the tight ropes and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
The
there's
high ropes.
Well, they do like all the aerobatics and all that shit where they're
Yep.
flipping around in the air and everything. I can't remember what it's called, but they have a
Trapeze.
house there. Yeah, they have a house there that and it has a big training thing in the back. You can see all the nets and the different wires and cables and everything. And every once in a while, you'll see them jumping around back there. But one of the bus drivers that was subbing one day told me that they actually do professional training for people that do that. I always saw it, but I never thought nothing of it. But he was explaining it to me. He knew the people that owned it. And he was like, yeah, they do all the training and everything when people are doing it professionally.
You wanna see a circus? All you gotta do is go to Walmart. A bunch of clowns in there.
Went to clown college. You worked.
Well, that's what they say about TJ store.
The TJ store.
Well, apparently Jim's buddy lives right next to Joe now. He was a clown for Barnum and Bailey's for 10 years.
Oh, they lives right by Joe now. Oh.
Yeah. We had a little small circus come through our town about 5 months ago, and they set up shop in the old mall parking lot.
Yeah.
They
Do
had
you
a
have
bunch
the
of
phone
giant
number
stuff
for him,
there.
Justin?
Who?
That circus.
No, I just kept seeing the
Yeah. I just need to let him
banners
know they've
everywhere.
left one of the animals behind.
I think Jim's talking about Johnny.
But no, they had a bunch of big ass tents set up out there, and they had banners all over our town advertising for like a couple weeks before they actually did the show, or they opened up. I actually wanted to go to it, but I just never looked into it.
I think there was a circus fire. It was intense.
I was watching somebody that Scott on tape a couple months back, and he did a video about a year and a half ago where he went and looked at this clown, or it was like a memorial, because there was a bad train wreck back in like 1914, and a bunch of people died on the train. It was a circus and a bunch of animals and stuff, but they couldn't identify. They didn't know who half the people were, because back then people just joined circuses and stuff. You didn't actually know who they were or anything, because people didn't have IDs and all that shit like they do these days. And so they just literally just did a mass grave and put them all in there. And they just have a big memorial, this huge memorial that they did for him back then, and it's still around.
Yeah, they got like traveling circuses that like people like the bearded with like the bearded lady and like the small person or whatever, like all these freaks like travel around and shit like that.
So
But that wreck was here in the U.S. Let me see here. YouTube. Oh yeah, right here. Let's see here. But this is the memorial that they did for him, right here. I mean, it's pretty good size, but it was just like a mass grave that they put them all in. Erected by the Conte Kennedy Show as a memory of the comrades who lost their lives in a railroad wreck near Columbus, Georgia, back in November 22nd, 1915. But they, like I said, they didn't know half the real identities of the people that died that were from the circus. So they just took all they took all the animals and all the people that died in the wreck, and put them in this grave. And then some company made this back in like 1916 or 1917. And they
a lot of animals and people to be put in there. Seems pretty small.
Oh, it's big, dude. This thing's huge. Like,
yeah, but just from like the picture, it looks pretty small.
No, it's not. It's the size of like a smart car. It's pretty good size.
Well, what's next to it? It looks like a mass grave next to it, and then further on.
No, these are all just regular graves. They're just the top stones for the graves. This is a big old graveyard. But they just pretty much got all buried in this big mass grave here. But most of them were, I mean, to nothing. I mean, it was a train fire. It wrecked and then everything caught on fire. But the entire train was one circus. It wasn't like a mix with a bunch of passengers, like random people and stuff. It was just one circus train, pretty much.
Sure, they had a couple of animals that could have ate.
So I was thinking Joe show up with the barbecue sauce.
Doesn't look like a barbecue. It's just, hey, got some rhino steaks. TJ falling asleep. You saw that?
Yeah,
he's not getting his mid-morning nap.
Going and getting that haircut really tuckered him out.
Yeah, toughed him up.
You know what's really nice about getting a haircut is when they wash your hair.
Yeah,
if you get a girl doing it with the nails.
They're upgrading. They were upgrading their sinks or whatever, because when I walked in, they had the plumbers in there taking out their old sinks and they're putting in new ones. So I couldn't get my hair washed like I would normally do.
Yeah, because I would always get one before and after the haircut.
Why would you do it before?
Because sometimes your hair is just, I don't know. Sometimes they'll do it before if you ask.
Huh.
Not good to do it before.
Yeah, because I mean, it really doesn't make sense, because then
why? Guys' hair dries quick.
Yeah, but hair gets longer when it's wet.
Oh, I know. But
when you have it cut when it's wet.
Like they just spray it with the water, and then they'll cut it for you.
Because I got a better hairdresser, TJ. What do you want me to tell you?
And Justin's hairdresser does his nails too.
No, when the girls get in there with those nails and they start digging into your head, oh, it feels so good.
Oh yeah, that feels
so
great.
relaxing.
They do it with their hair, with their nails and stuff. Oh, that feels so good. And then they, like, after they cut your hair, they have that little massage gun and they massage your shoulders and shit. Oh man! And like the place that I go to, it's called. You got a place over there called Sports Clips, right, Justin?
Not that I'm aware of now.
Oh yeah, Sports Clips is great. Like they go, like they'll take, after they cut your hair, they'll take in the back and like those.
Oh, take you in the back. Okay, you don't need to tell us anymore.
And
yeah.
they put a warm towel over your face. Oh man, that is so great.
DJ, pretty sure that's not barbers.
He's going to a spa.
Yeah. Not a barber's.
No, he's going to a brothel.
That's they do that over here. Like if you go to some of the If you go to really some of the really nice places, they'll have like massagers built into the chairs and everything else.
The really nice places, right, TJ?
Yeah, the really nice ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The
The
chicken
one,
run.
the one guy I used to go to, he would do all your lineup and everything, your edge up and everything with a straight razor, and then he would do the hot foam on your face. But first, he would put the towel on there and let it sit for a couple minutes,
Yeah.
and then he would take it off,
Did you get that stuff I sent you?
and then he would put the hot foam on
With
on
the-
your face. That felt so good.
Well, this is here. Let's see. Whoops. Ah, shit.
Joe's trying to get his insurance company to pay out.
Well, guys, it's after 12 o'clock here. I think I'm going to call it.
Well, I was going to show you this place.
Well,
right
what are you
quick.
gonna call it?
I'm going to call it nighty night, TJ.
Hold on, TJ wanted to show something real quick, then we'll go.
All right, hold on.
I've heard of sports clips, but no, I don't think we have one around here.
Yeah, so this is like they'll do a haircut, they'll do shave, hair and shave, like
Yeah, I don't know.
like they'll put here's like the towel that they put on your face when you're leaned back in the chair.
And
while they're
there's the
watching
girls in the brothel.
yeah, there's the
TJ says this to his wife, I'm just getting a haircut, honey. And that's why he comes home so tired.
They put a nice hot towel around. Yeah, CJ, they put a nice hot towel around both heads.
Yeah.
Got a little one cupping up down there.
And they give it a massage on both ends, up there and down there, you know.
That's funny. Oh goodness.
Well, what channels stay on for a while and go back and relax for a little bit?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off.
All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for being here. We'll see you again later today. Mark, have a great day. Joe, good luck with your insurance. And Mark, David.
It's on insurance.
All right, there you go.
Adios, amigos. See y'all later on.
Okay, we'll see you later today.
See you.
Go out and fly, Joe.
I might go fly later. I'm waiting for her to tell me back about the claim. She's gonna talk to Scott and call me back.
All right.